And then, we are saying your full name, right?
Yeah, you can say whatever.
Cool. Brandon Mitchell.
Brandon Mitchell.
I want to tell the story about what I said the first time we met.
Do you know where this road leads? Then hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both high and low, rich and poor together. Do you indeed speak righteousness? Do you judge uprightly, all ye sons and daughters of men? And do you judge as others judge? For as you judge, you shall be judged. And if you condemn, you are condemned. Pass on. But there is no return.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Profession Confession Podcast. We got a great episode for you. I'm your host, Gabe Noah. With me, as always, is the symmetrical one, the chocolate unicorn, Tevin Pittman.
Yes, I am here.
There he is. God, you're symmetrical.
Try to be.
Caramelicious, too. And then with me, we have a great guest this week. I'm fucking stoked for this episode. Which I'll stop talking to the screen soon now. I'll start talking to you. But yeah, this week we have a juror from the Derek Chauvin trial. Right? You've accomplished nothing else in your life, just this.
That's literally the only thing.
No, man. I was. We met because you have a podcast, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And it's called the Wholesome Podcast, which I love the fucking title. It's like it's not wholesome. It's a relationships kind of podcast, right?
Yep, dating, relationships. Me, my co-host, will bring a guest on, and we go over different topics. We have a few segments, and we're just going over various things. And it's not just me and this other guy just only giving our opinion. We
Two men just talking about relationships, yeah.
Right, no. So we usually bring a female guest on, and we get everybody's perspective on various things, from dating, relationships, marriage, poly, all type of things. I mean, we're all over the place with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I'd love to come on and talk about my divorce.
Yeah, no, we got to get you on, absolutely, to talk about your divorce.
Oh, yeah. No,
that'll be a good one.
It's actually very, very amicable, but no matter how amicable they are, they fucking suck.
Exactly. I mean, anytime it's any form of a breakup, especially a divorce, like, I mean, it's a lot to talk about. It's a lot of topics you hit on.
No, it is. Which, this is a way of me also explaining to our audience why we've been so gone, is we had COVID. We started releasing a couple podcasts.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we didn't have COVID. Like, we survived through COVID.
We survived through COVID, but we couldn't do this podcast in person.
Right.
And
right.
it's a confession is in the name.
Yeah.
And we tried it like on the phone or Zoom, and it's like people don't fucking care to answer whatever.
And I mean, in person, you just get a better vibe. Mm-hmm. Like, you can really feel somebody out and have a real conversation. I mean, Zoom and Skype is it's not the same.
Yeah. No doubt about it. So before we get into this stuff, I guess I want to learn a little bit about yourself. But I guess, my first question would be, is how did you lie your way onto the jury?
I don't think
because I know for a fact you were going to convict him at all times. I don't know if you noticed, you're a black guy.
I am a black guy. That is the only thing true about any of that. But I don't even think there is a way to truly lie yourself on a jury, because the process is pretty in depth. Like, so you fill out a questionnaire in the beginning.
Yeah.
The questionnaire for this one was like, I don't know, like 60, 70 questions or something like that. Just going over different experiences you've had throughout life.
Have you ever had a cop knee on your back and fucking take your breath?
But I actually
is that a question?
But that is a question.
Right,
the question is, have you
been abused by law
and
enforcement?
or have you seen law enforcement abusing anybody? And on my questionnaire, I kept it 100% real, where it's like, no, I've seen police like body slam somebody and just completely just go above and beyond, just abusing them for no reason, pretty much. Like, I've 100% seen that, and I was 100% honest about that.
Yeah.
And then, so after you do the questionnaire, they bring you in for an interview, and they ask you about those questions on the questionnaire. Like, okay, well, you said this on here. Like,
and then they cross-examine you, right?
Yeah.
So it's like,
So it's like, so say if you did lie on your questionnaire, it's like, well, now you got to stand on that in front of a judge, under oath. Now what?
Right.
It's...
Right.
It doesn't even make sense to, but...
I was partially joking, but only like 20%.
No, but the thing is, some people actually believe that I lied on my questionnaire.
Hey,
that's a real thing.
Anyone who's... put it this way. When we met, which by the way, I did like the most inadvertent racist thing. He told me his name, and then I go, his name is, which we should say, is Brandon Mitchell, right?
Yep.
And I said, I go, what is that, Brandon Jackson? so I don't think I'd make it on the jury with my.
No, they would have definitely.
They would have sniffed that out right away.
Eliminated you right there.
But yeah. I just assume all black people are named Jackson.
No, it was a good one. It was good timing. I'll give you that. It was good.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, did you want to do jury duty? I mean, I assume you'd never done it before this.
No, that was my first time.
Okay.
I would say when I first got the letter saying that I was being selected, I was like, I don't know. Because I'm a basketball coach, and it was during the season still.
Okay.
And it was like during a pivotal point in the season, so I was like, this is kind of going to overlap.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling it.
Where do you coach basketball? Like, where was your life at that time?
Yeah, so I coach high school at Minneapolis North.
Okay.
During this time, we were just starting the season. That's when they start sending out letters. So this is like maybe November of this is November leading up into 2020 and or 2021. We're literally just starting our season. We're just starting, and I'm like, damn, I'm getting this letter saying I gotta go do a jury, go be on the jury panel in March or April. They didn't have an exact date yet.
And you had zero inclination. I assume that they didn't even know what case it was for when they sent that.
The very first letter, I believe, didn't have any information.
Okay.
But it was. I think I was pretty suspicious. Like, the timing of this
really?
could be. This could be that case. I don't know.
Right.
I think they sent a supplement letter right after that, maybe a couple weeks or a week and a half or something like that, and then you find out what case it's on. So you still find out very early what case it is.
Oh, okay. You do.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, you still find out like November, December. Boom. This is the case. You have to clear this time out because this is something that you actually have to do. Like, it's not an option.
So at that point, did you sort of have the historical context? Were you intrigued by doing that? Because it did care. Like, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I just tried to brainstorm it really quickly, but I was like, what's the biggest court cases of my lifetime? Yeah. Of course, fucking OJ. And then this. And that's about all I can think of. I'm sure there's more. I'm just like, I ran up against a wall and I was like, this is truly, did you have that historical context like right away? That that this could be a big thing. And
yeah, I knew pretty early on that it was a historical moment. I think it definitely superseded anything I ever thought of. But I knew for sure it was like a point in history where it's like, okay, this is possibly a moment, and I should probably be a part of this moment.
Right.
So at that point, I kind of switched my tune and was like, okay, I kind of do want to see if I could be a part of this or not.
Yeah. Did you feel that among the other jurors too, where it's like, where there was a sense of people wanted to get on it, or were people tanking, trying to get off of it? What did you see?
People were definitely tanking, but I don't know if it was because they wanted to get off it or they just had super strong beliefs.
They're just so racist, they can't even hide it. Right?
I mean, either way.
Or whatever, or so anti-cop, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so you got both sides of it where people were just coming in, which I found a lot of this out after the fact, because you could watch like the interviews on YouTube, and I watched a few of them, and people were just coming in like, fuck the police. Like,
right.
They just, like,
get
whatever.
Me out of this.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't think there was many people that really championed being on it. I think there were a few, and I think that the ones that did were actually on the jury.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, so I have what I would consider an adventurous spirit, or I would have that historical context that would be interesting to me to be a part of it.
Right.
So I would, and I do think I would play it straight, because these are really intelligent guys who are cross-examining you, and you're not gonna BS them. I mean, I could fuck with them, but not many other people.
You gotta be good.
But yeah. What was? I'm an enormous liar. Ask my ex-wife. No. What did you see? Like, so you were interested in doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
They kind of bring you in. What are the first meetings like? How does that work? I guess when it's this high-profile case.
So after they do the interviews, and it's kind of leading into that first day, they actually brought us to a secure location. So we drive to a secure location outside of the city of Minneapolis, and then we get escorted in unmarked cars by a bunch of sheriff's departments. So
holy shit!
So yeah, it's like you have a car that you're in, then you have a tail car, then you have another tail behind that. It's a whole process, and you drive into the city in an unmarked car and enter through this underground.
And then you see all the press, protesters, all that shit as you're coming in.
Yep.
So that's got to get your adrenaline going a little bit,
right? Early in the morning.
Yeah. What did the so you're riding with cops?
Yeah.
What was that vibe like in the car? Were they, is there any?
Yeah.
I mean, gonna fucking take down one of the good guys?
No, it was. They never.
I'm sure they have to be super fucking.
They were chill. They were like super cool for the most part. 'Cause, I mean, we end up spending. I mean, it's the same deputy bringing you in every day.
Okay.
So you end up, getting some form of relationship with them.
Yeah.
And I mean, the lady I had, I mean, she was pretty cool. She was just like whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
She wasn't an ass or nothing like that. But
Did she ever indicate to you her feelings, like even just where you maybe sussed it out a little bit? Like, I feel like she thinks that he was guilty or whatever.
No. I wish we would have got some kind of indication from her. We didn't get nothing from her in terms of that. And also, you got to remember, we're coming in. It is still jury duty. It's pretty boring a lot of the time. I mean, you're coming in bright and early. I mean, you don't even. It's hard to tell sometimes because it's early in the morning. You're sleepy, and you're going to sit in a room for the first hour, just sitting there looking at each other before the case even starts. So
right.
Yeah.
What is? Yeah, it's a dull fucking room. There's nothing on the walls or anything like that.
Exactly.
I guess they want you to pay attention.
Yeah.
So. But what do they? So, what were you like going into this? What was your position on social justice stuff? One. The second thing I'd ask is, how the hell did you not know everything about this case going into it? Are you Black Amish?
Whoa. Leave my Black Amish people.
Kevin's Black Amish.
Oh, wow.
He's half Amish. He's the only black half Amish guy in the world, I think.
0% Amish.
That's hilarious. No,
He has family that's Amish. I'm not making it up.
That's nuts.
It's awesome. It's a super interesting story. But yeah.
I'm way far from Amish, but no, I mean, as me being a coach in the community, a leader in the community, I've always kind of you have to pay attention to everything in social justice. And as a black man, I mean, I'm pretty socially conscious,
right?
As a person, just in general. But coming into this, I didn't know much about it because I don't watch the news. I just flat out don't watch the news just because I learned at maybe 16, 17, there's only negative stuff on the news, and I just didn't.
Secretly Amish.
I'm secretly Amish,
right? Yeah.
So I don't really watch the news. I'm not big on social media besides through my podcast. So it's like I'm not really looking at these things. And when the video went viral, and as I'm seeing it pop up everywhere, and I scrolled past it one time, and it actually started auto playing.
Yep.
And that's the only way I seen the little bit I seen of it. I'm like, and as I started watching, I'm like, I'm not watching this bullshit. Like, I'm literally
this is fucking horrific.
Yeah. So I literally just scrolled past it, didn't watch the whole video, and that was like the only exposure I had, just because I was like, there's nothing else I was following. I don't read the newspaper. I'm not watching the news. Right. Barely on social media. I didn't see the full video. I mean, I understand what happened, but it was like,
for
this
real.
Isn't new.
You never saw like a bunch of like, and I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just saying like, is it just? It's so amazing to me, But I'm a news junkie, and I get it like obsessed with that shit. Like when it's 9/11. Like 9/11 time, I didn't leave the sofa for fucking 48 hours. I'm just watching CNN. So
the news, I mean, because I think consuming all that negativity, it weighs on you.
It's horrible for you. That's what I mean.
Yeah. But no, for real, it does.
Yeah,
weigh on
it
you.
does.
It does. It takes a toll on you. And like I said, I figured that out in high school. I did like a study or something on it, and it was like, this isn't something I want to use my time consuming. Right. And I just stopped watching from then on. I was like 16, so past 15 years, I just haven't been watching. I don't watch the news.
Right.
It's just
really works out for jury duty.
No, it does.
Right.
It does.
Right.
It does. So
were they, so I learned some interesting things around the jury selection process because we produce other podcasts here and stuff like that, and there's some political ones and all that. So I was privy, like I talked to some lawyers at the time about the jury selection process.
Absolutely.
And I was really interested to know. I was asking this lawyer about it, and I was like, so is the defense just trying to have like no black people, and the prosecution trying to have, all black people kind of thing? And she goes, no, she said, actually, like elderly black women is their worst nightmare.
Really?
Like black mamas?
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, what'd you do to get in that position?
Right.
They still have that old fashioned kind of, even though, like it was really fascinating. And then she said, young white women is what the defense wants. Or I'm sorry, is what the prosecution wants.
Yeah.
You know what? We don't have to get started on white women. But, and then of course she's like young black men, which you'd fall into that.
Right.
So did you feel them badgering you in the selection process, trying to get your true feelings out? Like, I mean, did it get kind of rough, or are they very respectful the whole time?
I don't think it got rough. I was surprised I was selected just because like some of my answers were very much super honest. Whereas So like I said, I've
seen injustice.
I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen this. Or Like one of the questions was like, what are your thoughts on Black Lives Matter and stuff like that? And I was like, I stand on that statement. It's something that I believe in.
Yeah.
And I thought those would be things that would eliminate me.
Yeah.
And ironically, those were like the toughest questions. And then, but it didn't change anything. So I don't think that, I don't even know. It shocked me. I'm still kind of shocked, like,
right.
Because my answers to those questions were stern, and I don't know. I don't know what the defense seen within that, but they stuck with it. I don't know.
As they are, so were they fairly kind to you when they're asking questions? Are they respectful? Like, hey, you're here to do your civic duty. That's cool. Or it's like, what are you trying to pull you for?
They're pretty straightforward. They're not either way. They're just straightforward. Like, you wrote this. This is what you wrote.
Yeah.
What do you think about it now?
Yeah.
And they're just straightforward. There wasn't any like, hey, I'm being nice about it, or it's just, no, this is what it is. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Had you ever experienced like getting mistreated by a cop, like, yourself,
Absolutely.
severely or anything like that?
Absolutely. As a black man growing up in Minneapolis, you get discriminated against all the time. Yeah. And that was one of the questions on there was like, is discrimination real or fake? And I'm like, no, it's like, it happens so often. Like, you don't even know. Like,
is there anyone saying fake or whatever like that? Yeah.
But there always is somebody. But no,
sure.
So you get discriminated against so often as especially a younger black man, if you're like high school age or a little bit older, maybe 16 to 23, it's just unfortunately, it's just part of growing up in Minneapolis. Right. During those times, hopefully, it changes, whatever. But
do you mind saying what the worst thing is that happened to you growing up? Like, or is it just a lot of, a lot of minor discrimination that wears on you and eats you? I don't want to say minor. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah. For me, I didn't have anything too crazy happen to me personally. The most what happened to me is I would get, maybe the cops ain't pulling me over for no reason all the time, or they might flash the lights on behind me and turn them off and then pull around me, see how I react, type stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing.
That happened too. Yeah. Now that you say that.
Yeah, they would do that to me all the time. So to me personally, nothing. But also, when I would get pulled over, I was always the type of person where it's like, I'm not going to get too heated. I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt and just whatever.
You don't crack the window and go, oh, you're pulling me over because I'm black or whatever. Right. You start on that foot.
Right. So I was always just kind of just real calm with it and whatever. Just like, this just is what it is.
Trying to be right.
Just trying to get through it. Whereas I've been in a car where I've seen other people react differently. Yeah. And it goes differently.
No one wants to. So I've been beat up by cops multiple times. Yeah. I have deserved it every single time except once. but that one time was so fucking violating feeling, like like the powerlessness and and when they start saying like out of pocket shit to you, like fucking kick you, through gritted teeth and shit, where it's like, oh, this dude fucking hates me, which I did. Well, whatever, I earned it, we'll say. But at different times. One other time they broke up a party, divided a line in the party arbitrarily. And I tried to get a ride for my friends. I reached out. I said, hey, can I ride with my friends? And he just whacked my arm with that wand thing. Right. And it's just like, it's,
that's ridiculous.
It's stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stunning. So, I'm never ashamed to admit that I've lived the life of a black man.
Probably not as a, no,
you don't think so?
No, probably not. But you've had your experiences, though.
Let's just call it good.
You had your experience.
No, of course. Of course. No, but it's like, but I have this mentality that even though there's been awful shit, for me, I brought it on. I haven't been in a situation except once where it was kind of put on me like that. So so I think I could go in and be neutral. I do have a general anti-authority, bent, I guess. But yeah. But anyway, what so when they selected it down, you got selected. How long is that process?
So the questionnaire is maybe November, December. The actual we started maybe April. So the last interviews was maybe April. Then we started that following week. Okay. Early April, I believe, or something like that. Oh no, it was still March. So it was mid-March, maybe.
Do they pay you for that stuff?
Yeah, they get. I mean,
you get some trivial amount. But
yeah. You get a check every week or whatever. It's really nothing.
What? So as it narrowed down, like, do they narrow it down in rounds?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You
I
just
know.
get made aware or whatever.
Yeah, so
wherever you're at.
if you get chosen, so when I got chosen, they let you know right then and there. But what I found out is they actually started getting towards the end of the jury pool, and I don't know if they brought some more people back or whatnot at that point when they start getting towards the end of the pool of however many people. But I know for me, I mean, I was chose right kind of on the spot. I think most people were chose on the spot. They just
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What is? And I'm looking this up because I had the content of the juror, which was, it was 6 white women, 3 white men, 3 black men. It's you.
It's me.
2 multiracial women and 1 black woman.
Yeah.
And then 1 of them will be excused and 2 will be alternates. Okay. So when it gets down to that and you know that you're on the dream team, what do you like? What's that first day like, when you go there? Because I assume you're really analyzing each person, right?
Absolutely.
Like where does everyone fit and all that stuff?
Absolutely, because I mean, you're walking into a room full of strangers, and I mean, you have no idea about anybody else.
Yeah.
So we don't know the makeup until we walk into the room.
Right.
And then it's COVID too, so everybody has their mask on.
Yeah.
So it's hard to even connect with the person when they have their mask on.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know what's going
Bunch
on.
of shifty motherfuckers. You're
You just don't know
right,
anything,
right.
Yeah, and also we were instructed to not talk about too many things, too many personal things about the case during that time. So it's like you have to find
Really?
small talk. Yeah. So we can't discuss the case at all until the ends. So you walk in and you just have to create small talk. You don't know each other's names. You're not discussing high level personal details. So you just literally, oh, hey, how's the coffee?
What were your thoughts when you're looking around at that group? Like,
Right.
right when you got there first day, was your thought like, I don't know, these people are neutral? Were there certain people you had sussed out as like, yeah, I don't know, that dude's already thinking to quit or whatever? And I'm not saying that you wanted one way or the other. I'm just saying, like,
no doubt. I think when I first walked in, the first thing I noticed was that so even though it says on there that there was 3 black men, 2 of them, they were they're immigrants from Africa, so they're direct from Africa, which is different. Their journey's different than American-born black man.
Yes.
So that's the first thing I noticed, that I'm the only black man there.
You're the only
American
black guy.
Yeah, American-born black man. So that's the first thing I noticed on the first walk in. Easily, that's by far the demographics, and just who's kind of sitting by who and connecting with who is like the next thing that you notice. Like, who's kind of clicking up here? Like, what's actually going on?
It's natural in any group for you to click up right away, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, look for like minds. So
Absolutely.
even though you can't that you're only supposed to make small talk, I would imagine there was like, kind of nods or reassuring eye contact, or I don't know, like kind of like, oh, how's that impacting these people or whatever,
And,
right?
Like when you walk in and see that there's more white people than black people, do you think like, oh shit?
I think it was even, wasn't it? Or was it not?
No, it wasn't even, but
It wasn't even? 6 white women.
6 white women,
3 and
white
3?
dudes, 3 black dudes.
Okay, yeah.
But I expected to walk in and see all white people.
Oh, did you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. So, I mean, we live in Minnesota. I didn't expect.
We don't have that many black people.
No.
Right.
And what's crazy is our jury panel was the most diverse in like Minnesota history.
Right. That's
So-
what I did read that in the lead up to this.
Yeah. So I mean, we have the most. So generally, it's not that diverse. So I mean, I walked in, I see a couple of mixed people, a couple of black people, a couple of African, whatever, and it's like, okay, this is not what I expected actually.
Right.
So that was a shocker. Even though I still didn't see any other black men, it's just like, this is not what I expected. There's actually it's very different than what I was planning to walk into. I was planning to be the only black person there.
And this trial ended up being a sea change because it is the first one where they actually, like, where the police testified against themselves and all this shit, which we'll get to that. But so as you're going through that, I mean, did you feel comfortable in the group? Did you generally feel, do you get a family vibe right away, kind of, because you're going through a big thing together? Yeah,
no, that wasn't the vibe at all right away.
Okay.
I think it took some time for that. I would say initially maybe those first 2 days, and everybody's just kind of somewhat getting to know each other. Very awkward, very tense, and you could feel the stress amongst everybody.
Okay.
It definitely was not a family vibe at all.
More like kind of feeling each other out, like
Yeah.
suspiciously almost.
Definitely.
Really?
Definitely,
Okay.
Definitely. Everybody seemed suspicious of everybody. It just wasn't easy going. Like it wasn't a comforting,
Yeah.
warm, welcoming area to be in.
Have you ever seen 12 Angry Men?
No.
The movie? Okay. It's just my only jury touchstone movie, but it's like, they very much have like sort of archetypes, where there's
Yeah.
like the old angry like white guy who wants to convict, there's the passive old white lady there, all that kind of stuff. Did you kind of put people in boxes like that in a sense as you're doing? I think that's natural, but
I tried to, I wanted to, but it's so hard to read people when they have their mask on.
yeah.
And you can't have an actual conversation with them about who they are, or you
Right.
can't. I mean, so it's just like it's almost impossible to read. Where it's like you're just judging strictly based on how they look in their clothes, because
Right.
you're not getting anything else.
Right. Were you guys sequestered for this trial?
No, so
You weren't at all?
No, not. I mean, well, we were partially sequestered when the deliberations happened. So once the trial ended and we went away to come up with the decision, that we were sequestered for a couple days. Then that's it.
Okay. So I was going to ask about conjugal visits, but I guess that's.
I mean, no. So but however, so during the whole time, that's one of the things that we were all the jurors, we were curious on. It's like at any moment we could be sequestered, and a lot of us thought it was coming. We thought we were going to be sequestered at some point earlier on than what we were. But that was definitely going to be something that I was going to be worried about. Like, I mean, dude, can somebody come visit? Can I have a young lady come over? What's going on?
Absolutely.
Like, do we get weekends off? I mean, what's up?
You seem like the kind of guy who needs sex.
I need some conjugal visits.
It's important, right?
I need to go kick it a little bit. That's 100% a thing.
What? Of course. I mean, of course, right? It
That's
must feel
real.
a little ridiculous in that moment, but it'd be like,
no, that was going to be my biggest gripe.
Your main
It was going to be, what about the weekends? Are we going to get weekends off?
Yeah.
Because it's like, are we just sitting in a hotel all weekend? I mean, what's up? Like,
absolutely.
that was going to be a big thing.
So let's talk about the major players involved here.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have the jury, which you're a part of. There's the foreman. Do you guys elect the foreman?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
So we just voted on it. So, and we don't vote on it until the trial's over and we're going to deliberation.
Oh, okay.
That's when.
All right, I didn't know that.
What is the foreman? They have like a construction project going on here. Like what's
now? So the foreman is the person that basically is going to be the leader of the jurors in front of the court.
Yeah.
So they're the person that's signing off on whatever the verdict is, and they're technically presenting it to the judge, saying this is what we all agree on. They're the spokesperson for the jurors.
Oh, okay. Was there anybody that like stood out that almost wanted to be that person because they're like, oh, this is like my chance to be in the spotlight a little bit?
Yeah, what's crazy is there was like several people. So we go into the deliberations room, which I mean, I'm sure we'll get to. We'll describe the whole deliberation.
Yeah.
But the first thing we voted on was a foreman, and hella people were like, oh yeah, no, I want to be the foreman.
I'll do it.
I'll do it. And it was like, that was kind of the first one was like, okay, this is kind of weird, where everybody just kind of wanted to jump out there, but
I'd like to take the lead in this historic thing.
yeah,
Right.
like that's a lot of pressure. It's like a lot of those people didn't seem like they were leaders in that way.
Right.
But everybody jumped out there and was definitely all for it. It was like, that's a little off.
Yeah.
So then we finally voted on it, and we agreed on one guy that he did a great job.
Because he was a neutral type guy.
Yeah,
would you
absolutely.
Say? Yeah.
Absolutely a neutral type guy, super chill.
Yeah.
But definitely he didn't mind like taking control of things. If people were arguing and go back and forth, whatever. He just was a good guy. Perfect guy for it.
What? So you have the jury, the foreman. The judge was Cahill, right?
Yep.
Peter Cahill, I
Yep.
believe his name is. What? And then the defense attorney. I can't remember his name.
Eric
right now.
Nelson.
Eric Nelson, and then the prosecutor was well, go ahead. And
Well,
tell
it
me,
was
'cause,
there's a group of them. So
Yeah, it was like
it was
Keith.
like 4 or 5 of them.
Ellison's office took it over. I know.
Right.
But
So they
yeah,
had a
I
few
can't remember
people.
who actually.
Well, the
was
way
the
they were
lead
doing.
prosecutor.
Yeah,
Or-
I don't know who the lead was technically because they would switch off
Okay.
every witness or a couple witnesses. They would switch off to a new one. There was maybe 4 or 5 of them, and they just were running like clockwork, like a team or something. So
Right.
sub.
What did you? So when you guys go in the trial's about to start, does the judge sort of? Is he who addresses you and kind of tells you about what you're about to do, and does these warnings and checks up on people?
So the judge has and I don't know what the term is, but he has an assistant technically
Okay.
that kind of gives you a precursor idea of what's about to happen and what you need to do and all the information you could possibly need. Then also the judge, once you go into the courtroom, he gives you another little lecture on hey, these are some other things to look out for. Yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
'cause he's just talking right at you. So it's like, no, also these things that you need to be aware of before we get started. You know, basically rules of the courtroom. And then so the judge and his assistant basically go over everything you could possibly need at the very beginning before the trial starts. Just goes over everything, and maybe
Right.
takes an hour and a half or something like that, 2 hours.
What do they threaten you with as the punishment for if you do start fraternizing or telling details or plotting with another juror? Like, I mean, do they kind of tell you that? I don't know how
Yeah.
they. You know?
Yeah, I mean, they just say it's going to cause a mistrial,
Okay.
just flat out. I mean,
Right.
So it's like if you discuss it beforehand and we find out, it's just going to cause a mistrial because now we have to find new jurors.
Right. And they tell you not to watch it at home, right?
Right,
Like, I mean,
right.
that's like a big thing.
Right. So yeah, that's one of the rules. They say, you know, stay off social media, try not to watch the news, just try to avoid all of it, even though it's everywhere. And I mean, they say that too. They say even though it's everywhere, just try to avoid.
Yeah.
Just try to avoid it as much as possible. We understand you're still going to be exposed somewhat,
Right.
but do what you can to not be exposed so much.
What was it like for you when you were selected? And I'd imagine your family, the people around you start, you know, you tell one or two people and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it spreads like crazy. I mean, did you feel like a little celebrity in your own life, kind of? Were people trying to get at you or talk to you, you know, just.
Not during the trial. So during the trial, so like my immediate family knew, because you could tell your immediate family, but they kept it very secretive just because they didn't want to be the one to let it come out and
Yeah.
something possibly happen to me or whatever. Something happens in
Right.
the case. They didn't want to be that one to jeopardize so much. So
Yeah.
they kept it under wraps completely. And then the guys that I coached with, my other coaches, they figured it out just based on how I was missing games and stuff and practices.
Oh, really?
And they're like, well, you know, he's missing these days, and a few days the court let out early. And it was like, well, they let out early and you made it this day. So they kind of put it together that I was on the jury. But they kept it kind of in the wraps too up until the
Did they
case ended.
confront you, kind of? Like,
No, they didn't confront me till I came forward publicly.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they,
okay,
and then they're
but
like,
they
we
knew
knew
on the side.
right?
Yeah,
And they're like, no, we knew already.
okay.
So you know, everybody I know kept it kind of chill with it.
When you say like, okay, they told you obviously like stay off social media and try not to like see or be involved in it. Did you go to like any protests, marches, or anything like that during it? And
No,
was that something that like conflicted you at all? Like seeing everybody like out protesting, you're like, oh well, I can't because I have to be on this trial.
no, it didn't really conflict me just because I was missing so when the trials
Fucker
going
had
on.
no idea what was going on.
Well,
I mean, right? I
yeah,
mean, in a sense.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I live right in Minneapolis, so I knew there was
Yeah.
protests and stuff going on.
Yeah.
But during the trial, I mean, you're going into a trial every day, basically an 8-hour day, pretty much. You're sitting in a courtroom, you know, you're watching this guy die all the time on video, and then also I'm missing my outlet, which is usually basketball and coaching basketball. So that's my
Yeah.
outlet. So it's like at that point, I don't even want to go outside and do anything, period, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's a depressing
You
moment.
get the depressive momentum, kind of.
Yeah,
right?
it's just a depressing moment. So it's like you're coming home and you're in the same routine every day. And it's just, I mean, you're just going home and just sitting kind of. So it's not like you're feeling like you're missing out on anything. You're just like, shit, I'm not feeling this.
Did you ever feel, I don't know, like in danger or even have people trying to like influence you at all? You know, just, I mean, it seems natural that someone would try to get your ear and go like, look, man, you can't fucking blow this thing. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
right,
that's
right.
to me the most natural thing in the world if someone knows you.
No, and I agree with you, but that's why, I mean, for me, I didn't tell, there's a lot of people I just didn't tell for that reason. So, I mean,
Right.
the people I told were
I would
like,
have been fucking with you.
yeah. No, a lot of people would have.
Right,
A lot of people would have.
For sure.
But you know, you just had to be real selective in who you told, and you had to really trust that they would put their trust within you to do whatever was right. So so my mom and my siblings, they knew, and they just respected my privacy with it. They didn't really ask so many questions. They just kind of let it be. If I went over to hang with my siblings, they would just kind of take it easy, not really
distantly supportive, kind
yeah,
of.
yeah, absolutely, be very distantly supportive and just kind of just let me do my own thing. Because I mean, and I think they could kind of see it on me, where it's like this is kind of wearing on them a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, so they would just be like, let's just not even go there. Let's just try to be as normal as possible.
Yeah, yeah. Did it feel like I guess how about the threats? The aspect of that, because I've heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
as you alluded to, that you had the escorts originally. Was that every day, or was that just
Every day.
So
Every
okay?
day. Funny,
They would
funny
pick you up
story
at your
about-
house. then?
No, definitely
Okay.
not.
Okay.
I wouldn't like that.
Okay.
Like, well, don't come to my house. Now it's getting
Right.
creepy. But no, so we
I'm
would
in North. I don't want to fucking.
don't you're blowing my spot up.
Right, right.
No, so we would drive to a location outside the city. So you would drive your personal car to a location, usually
Weird.
one of the sheriff offices, and then from there you would drive back back into the city to the courthouse. But funny story though. So the first day, when we're driving in, it's like I show up kind of late to the first location, and yeah, of course I know you can say
So
CPT.
you know how black people are.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So I'm like 5-10 minutes late. I get there. I'm like, oh man, they're probably gonna leave me. I'm probably the last person. But funny thing is, I'm not the last person. There's 2 other people we're waiting for, and it's the other two black guys, 2 African guys. So I'm like, so wait, so we're all the last ones, and the way it's set up is like there's maybe 5 different cars for 3-4 jurors in each one, and I'm like, okay, so all of the black men are all getting into one car on the way
Let's
to
not
this
make
case.
the target so specific.
I was like, yo,
Yeah.
this is crazy. Like we're finna get like
Right.
this car's gonna blow up or something. Like this is clearly
You put with some white people.
absolutely. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is clearly like a movie. I was so scared on the way there. Like this is
Were you really? So I mean, you were
Horrified.
genuinely scared.
horrified because I'm like, what are the odds of all of us all of a sudden being in the same
It's a
car
setup.
on the first day?
Yeah.
This is literally a setup.
And
I can
how'd
see
you
how your
sleep-
head goes
How'd
there.
you sleep the first night before making that drive out to like the sheriff office to get picked up?
There was no sleep. There was no sleep. It just
Really?
was, oh no, man. It was so nerve wracking. It's like I'm going in here. It's just the unknown.
You felt that responsibility in a big way. It wasn't an interesting, curious thing to you at this point. I mean, it kind of stopped being that.
It definitely stopped being that because now it's real. It's
Right.
like, okay, you could be interested and curious in something,
Yeah.
but no, this is real. This is really going to happen. Like, it's not like I'm just researching what's going on. I'm not just
Right.
looking from a distance. No, I'm
Yeah.
really in it now. It's like, oh shit, like this is real. Like,
How much was it? So to me, this is my opinion of that. What happened
yeah,
is, I thought Chauvin looked like a lizard to me, right? Like dead eyes, fucking kneeing a human with people yelling and crying, begging you to fucking look, and he just, a lizard is the best thing that I can say.
Yeah.
Like heartlessly,
yeah,
and yet, did you so to me, being neutral in that case is
Yeah.
really difficult. I dove into that case big time and
Yeah.
read a lot about it.
Yeah.
And the thing that worried me is I thought that he'd have procedure on his side, right? Is that he would just kind of get away because of, I actually, as much as I think he is a lizard and deserves everything that he is going to get,
Yeah.
but I actually do have some sympathy for the other officers because they were on their
following
first
him.
fucking day.
yeah, that's tough.
And they're doing the cordon, right?
It's
so
tough,
like
man.
we're not supposed to look back and do
Yeah.
shit. So that's like where I stand. But did the gravity that you're aware that his life is hanging in the balance, did it sort of cause you to be more neutral in a sense where it's like, I got to take this really seriously?
I think so. And I think so that for all of the jurors was like, okay, somebody's lost a life, but you're also deciding somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And you feel that responsibility, like
Even if
like,
he is a piece of shit. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah.
exactly, where it really does weigh on you, like you're really deciding somebody else's life. And I think once the verdict was actually read, we all felt it like times 10. Then like, wow, we really just decided
Wow. Yeah.
somebody's life. Like nobody. I mean, I guess some people
That's
might want that
fucking
type of power,
profound.
but that's a lot. That's a lot on like
Yeah.
the average person. That's a lot. That's crazy.
Bro, that's actually profound. Like, I mean, I've never thought of that. Like, after you make that choice and you
Yeah.
see his eyes.
You feel
Right?
it. You feel it.
And especially seeing like if he has family or anything like that,
Absolutely.
there where you see them react to the verdict.
Yeah, no, like I said, you feel it 100%, and I mean, you as a human, you feel compassion even for him. Where
Yeah.
it's like, damn, I really just decided this person's life. Like,
Yeah.
there's just no taking that back now.
Are you a sensitive person? Would you say like I mean, is that something you thought of yourself before this?
No, not at all.
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't consider myself sensitive or really emotionally in tune at all.
Right.
I'm just not that type of person. But throughout the case, there was moments where
The gravity of that situation.
You feel the case, you feel what's going on, you feel the intensity of it, and you feel the emotions.
Right. So so let's kind of go back to the players, right?
Yeah.
So you have the defense attorney, you have the prosecutors.
Yep.
Tevin brought up a great thing. You have the fucking families there.
Mm-hmm.
You have the defendant, for instance. How much are you, when you're in the jury box, are you scanning around, looking at everyone, analyzing their posture? Just like, I'm sure he was coached like crazy.
Yeah.
And I felt like his posture was very, like, not good at all from what I saw,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, he seemed very unresponsive and cold. I mean, he's just got a cold fucking vibe.
He just does.
Right.
I agree with you. But you're
What
looking at
was
all
your first thought of him when you saw him?
My first thought of when I first seen him was just like, he's a lot smaller than what I thought, and he just seemed very nonchalant. That was just the vibe I got. Like, he's just kind of like, all right, whatever. Like, let's be over in a couple weeks.
How much does that weigh into everything that you're doing? So there's the facts of the case. There's what the lawyers are saying.
Yep.
And then there's just what you're reading from people's body language.
Yeah.
Are you aware of how much that impacted your decision? Like, I mean, do you think it's pretty significant?
I don't. For me, because the way the courtroom was set up and where I sat, I could only see him when I first walked in. Once I sat down, I couldn't get a good visual of Chauvin.
Oh.
So, but I do think for some people that could look directly at him the entire time and see his reaction to different witnesses and different things being said, I do think that would 100% that has to have a factor, because you're looking dead at him and you're seeing, well, how are you reacting to this? But for me, I was able to see Floyd's family, like, so we'd have a family member in the room, and that was my direct line of sight.
Mm-hmm.
And that definitely caused me to be emotional.
I would think that would be
absolutely
like their presence in that courtroom. I would think
Absolutely.
is extremely important to getting a result, to like keep that pressure on the jury in a sense.
Yeah, no, it was tough to see them. I mean, it was a different person each day, and it would just be like their reactions to certain things just be like, oh man, this is tough.
When they show, because you said they showed that video many times, right? Like, I mean, how many times do you see that fucking video?
I mean, hundreds. You'd see it 15, 20 times a day.
You've seen it almost as much as me then. I was fucking obsessed with this case. Like, it's just, I couldn't,
But the thing
is, can't believe it.
The thing is, though, so when you're in there, I don't know if you watched the trial, but they had all these different angles. And it's like they have these different angles, and they're playing the sound isolated. And
right.
They're isolating all these different things where it's like, yo, like, this is like watching an NBA game. They're slow motion, replay, rewind. And it's like, we could just turn it off at this point.
This is the most macabre NBA game I've ever seen.
No, seriously.
Right.
But it's like...
Right. I've seen this. I've fucking seen this.
And after you've seen all the angles, you memorize literally all the body cams. You memorize all the different angles. Like, it's so many different cameras that were on this. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
Did any of the jurors react? So the first time they played the tape for you, that was the first time you actually saw it completely
in its entirety.
Right, in its entirety.
Yep.
How did you react? Did any other jurors like gasp or anything like that? I mean, that had to be
the room.
Heavy.
So when they played the video the first time,
who played it, by the way? Was it the defense or the prosecution?
I believe the prosecution.
Probably. Yeah,
I believe the prosecution.
So
what's funny is, so they led up to it by playing clips of various things going on around during that time. So you're seeing these clips kind of building up to it, and then boom, once they play the actual video and they let it just roll, I mean, the entire room just kind of changes. It goes.
Were you nervous when they're about to play it? Kind of like, I mean, was there anticipation? Because his family's there, right?
Right.
Like, that had to be fucking awful.
Yeah.
What was their reaction?
I'm pretty sure. I think it was his brother, one of his brothers there that day. I'm 100% positive they broke down right away.
Yeah.
Just broke down. Just sat in the corner and just cried by themselves just for like 2 hours straight. But in the room in general, like I said, so they led up to it with different clips of different videos, and everybody was kind of like, okay, this isn't too bad. And as soon as they played it, the entire room changed. You felt the change. People are looking away. They're looking at the walls. They're trying not to watch it, and it's just playing. Sound is up, and it's such a tense moment. Nobody's saying anything, and it's just tense.
Were you locked in on the video, or were you eye-jabbing around, bouncing around, kind of going like, I mean, I know how I'd be. I would absolutely be bouncing around just to see how other people react.
I watched up until, I didn't want to look at anybody else, but because I just
Yeah, I
want-
suppose that's a violation.
No,
in
it's not a
sense, too,
violation.
maybe.
No,
Okay.
you can look at whoever, but I didn't want to look
I
at
mean,
anybody.
saying, does it feel like a violation? Maybe like to I don't know.
No, for me, I didn't want to break down at that moment. So I didn't want to look at somebody else and they're over here bawling their eyes out, and then I'm like, oh man, you'll make me cry now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I watched up until I try not to look away up until a certain point, and at a certain point you just have to look away. Like I have to look somewhere else. And at that point, I kind of looked at like the defense and the like George Floyd's brother and the prosecution. I was able to look at them, just kind of see how they're acting, and they're even all like looking tight. Where it's like,
Oh, they had to fucking be. I mean, so when the video plays and it's done that first time, I mean, I would imagine the feeling inside is overwhelming. Like, this dude is fucking guilty. Holy fuck! Like, I'm saying like that had to be your feeling, right?
Absolutely.
And then
But the thing is, though, so even after they played it, when it first got done, which I mean, the prosecution did a really good job. So they played the video all the way through. They just paused for like a few seconds.
Right. Let it sit.
They just paused, yeah.
Right.
Then they got back to their questions after that, but it was just like, what in the world is the defense going to do?
Right.
Like,
how the fuck do you defend that with the goddamn guy's brother like audibly crying? Oh my god.
It was tough. That was one of the toughest moments, was that first time getting through the video, and it's just like, this is, and at that point you're also thinking like, what did I just get myself into?
Right.
Right.
I
Like,
thought
can I
this
go-
would be an interesting thing. What a
Right.
fucking
You're like,
idiot
can I
I
go back
am,
and
right?
change?
Like, I mean, in a sense,
No,
like this is
seriously.
real shit.
Seriously, and you're like, this is really real, and I don't know if I can, because they already tell you like the case is going to take maybe 3 to 4 weeks. You're like, I don't know if I can take this for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, that's a real thought where it's like, oh man, what the hell?
Were you the type of person? So when I was young and in college, there were websites like rotten.com or these things where like you go see dead people and shit like that. I'm the type who would go see those, get traumatized, and then not look, and then go look again some other time. But would you ever do that, or are you
Never.
squeamish to that
Squeamish,
stuff?
super squeamish to dead bodies, anything dead, blood. I don't want to see none of that. I don't.
And
wanna
I
see,
was squeamish to the Floyd video. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's 10 times worse than just seeing a dead body, because it's. I mean, when that
You're
guy
watching him
calls
die.
for his mom, dude. I mean, if you don't have a heart if that doesn't.
No,
like,
that has to
rip
hit
your
right.
fucking.
And when you see, so you like you
God,
watch
his
that
mom was in the
video.
courtroom, right or not?
No, his mom. His mom is
Okay, was she passed?
Yeah,
I was like, that would be too
no,
much.
that'd be crazy.
That'd be too much.
Yeah.
What so that video plays, I'm sure you had to sense other feelings from the jurors. Like, I mean, that had to send a shockwave through the
It did.
jury,
It
right?
did. Everybody was in anguish at that point. Everybody was like, "This is a lot."
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
I mean, did you hear people gasping or like, did anyone get where they're showing too much? Do you feel like?
no, I mean, people, they let their emotions show for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, a few people had a few tears. They're putting their hands over their head. They're showing that this is tough to watch.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. I think I was maybe the only one. I'm not maybe the only one, but there's a few of us who are just like, we're gonna just try to stick strong through this and just go ahead and just try to push through it. But there's definitely you see a lot of changes in body language at that point.
Really? Like
Absolutely.
just the whole thing is like,
Yeah.
okay, this is
All the way around.
Yeah.
I think the only person that sat there with the stone cold face the entire time was maybe Chauvin and the judge.
Did Chauvin, so I was going to ask you that next. Did any of your fellow jurors, because I would imagine people asked when you're in the deliberation phase, like, how did Chauvin react when that video was played for the first time? Did anyone talk about that?
I think somebody might have mentioned it, but it wasn't really a discussion. I think somebody
It was
just
more like, you didn't do shit. or
Yeah, I think
whatever.
somebody just said it.
That dude's a lizard. Right.
But yeah, I don't think
He
anybody
licked his eyeball.
that'd
Yeah.
be crazy. But yeah, I don't think anybody, because we had been sitting there looking at him with this still face for 3 weeks already. So
Right?
it just became a part of what it is. Like that's how he looks.
Right.
When like the defense is going over all of, they're obviously trying to get him a lesser sentence and things like that. Did they ever bring anything up in the courtroom that you were like, you know what, maybe this could go the other way?
Where it tipped you back. Yeah. Great question, Tim. Great question.
Which is funny you bring it up. So like their opening statement, they were like, there's going to be something that we're going to bring up, and it's going to really put everything to rest. Like you're gonna see this one thing, and it's going to change your complete perspective regardless of the video. And so the entire trial, I know for sure I wasn't. I think everybody was. It was like we're waiting for that one moment where it's like, when are they going to bring this up? When are they going to bring this thing up?
Yeah.
And it's like we're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
When's the hammer coming?
And
Right.
it just never came.
Oh, really?
I feel like it didn't. It was like.
What do you think he thought it was?
I'm not sure.
Really?
It
It wasn't even defined.
It truly wasn't, because it was. I mean, because as the case went on, as the case went on, it seemed like they changed their strategy a little bit and just started throwing different things out there. But it was like none of them seemed like this is that one big thing that's going to set it over the top. And it was like, okay. And then when the case ended, it was like, okay, so they didn't. I mean, what
Did it come across
Where's
as
the
like
fucking
desperate?
thing? Right.
Yeah.
When they changed the strategy, how did that manifest itself? Like, I mean, because to me, that's crazy that you felt that.
Absolutely.
Really?
100%. Because the whole time, I think everybody was just waiting for that moment, because you still remember what those opening statements were, and you're like, okay, he's going to have something really good.
I want to interview this dude now. That's crazy.
And it's you're really waiting for it. So you hear the prosecution, they're bringing their witnesses up, and you're like, okay, great. They started getting repetitive with their witnesses a little bit. So you're like, okay, we can move on to the defense and their witnesses, because he's going to have something good. Let's see what it's going to be. And then when it just never happens, it's almost like, okay, I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder if they do that as like a, hey, we're just going to tell you we have something big because we know you guys can't like talk about it during the case. So hopefully
The people will
they'll all unconsciously have like a moment where like, oh, that's got to be the big thing, or that gives little things more impact because they're reading into it more.
which that could be, because their whole thing was just a bunch of little things where it's like, oh, it could be this, could be that, could be this, could be that, but there's nothing was like, no, it's this is that one thing.
How about as far as the likability of the lawyers? So from my perspective, I watched a lot, paid attention. I wish I could remember why I felt this way, but at the time, I remember having the distinct thought, like, I don't think this defense lawyer is doing a good job, and that when I saw him in the courtroom, I didn't seem like he was very likable.
Yeah.
Okay, really?
Which I
You
agree
with
with. I don't think he was likable at all. He seemed like an asshole, but however, I do think
Seemed like a fucking asshole.
he does.
Right? Really?
But I think early
That's so
on,
interesting to me.
I think early on, like the first maybe week and a half, I thought he was doing a really good job though, and I think going
With the technical shit, basically.
yeah, but I think going forward, at some point, when I don't know what it was, but at some point it seemed like he got a little flustered and just never recovered.
I wonder if he had something disallowed or something like that.
Right,
You
and,
know, that they wanted to show or something.
Actually, which afterwards the judge kind of told us a few things. There were a lot of motions that were being denied, I guess.
Okay.
And it could have something to do with that. I haven't went back and looked at what they were, but I know there was somebody else that was supposed to testify or something like that he wanted that wasn't able to testify. There was like things that he was actually trying to push for that were getting denied, and that could have been why.
Well, because they even had like where you couldn't refer to certain people as certain titles and like things like that, right? Like where you couldn't.
Like what? What's an example of that?
I forget what the one was, but it was like you couldn't refer to it, like you couldn't call it murder, or like you couldn't say it. Like there was like you had to phrase how you addressed the murder, because
you couldn't say he slaughtered him,
right,
or whatever.
But so there was a lot of that going on though behind the scenes that as jurors we couldn't see.
Mm-hmm.
But afterward, the judge kind of said, it sounds like you guys got to look now. It's public information, but there was a lot of motions that were trying to be passed. I believe there was somebody that he wanted to testify, and he wanted us to be sequestered.
Okay.
Those two things I think were around that time when he might have changed it up a little bit.
Right. Well, so there was I was, again, with the lawyer connection stuff, I was privy to see this video of what I believe they were basing their defense on, and it was this Philadelphia internal affairs cop.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys saw this, like if this became a thing, but he did a thing where he watched the video and he broke down every step of the way how Chauvin, like how he was kind of saying like, that's not great police work.
Right.
He's being a fucking dick, but he's within the rules. Like that's kind of. And I watched this video and I truly was. I mean, I made a phone call to the person who I got it from, and I said, when is this thing going to trial so I can sell my house? Because they're going to burn this fucking city to the ground. Like, that's how scary it was to me, when I saw it.
Yeah.
But you never had that moment in the courtroom where because I'd assume you watch the video, you're pretty biased, like, this guy's fucking guilty, but I'm open-minded. I want to hear, like, what's going to be said. Was there ever a point where it tilted back to even 50-50? Or did it stay pretty much?
I think it was for sure 50-50 probably throughout most of the first day. Well, probably the entire first couple of days was probably 50-50. As you started getting into more expert testimony, that's when that started to shift a lot more. But you're waiting for that, like I said, the big thing from the defense.
Yeah.
You're still leaving it at, okay, there's something that we're missing here that we're not seeing.
Yeah.
So you still have a very much open mind on there's something coming.
Right.
Just wait on it.
Was there anything that that was particularly compelling to you, or was there ever a point where you were tilting toward like that Chauvin should get off? Like, I mean, did it ever get to that point?
I don't think it ever got to that point.
Okay.
It just never did. Especially not when the witnesses start getting called up and you start seeing the other officers start taking a stand.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal moment where it's like, especially when the chief did, it's like, wow.
So I wanted to talk about this because it was something I read that was really big to me. So in the newspaper at that time, what happened is they said that when the chief testified, Chauvin, like, it's a one time he looked up and gave like a real big gesticulation, kind of like, I mean,
really?
like, or like he looked, visibly pissed.
Yeah.
And because I think they were not expecting.
I don't think anybody was expecting that.
Right.
I wasn't, for sure.
Which true. Okay. Really?
Absolutely.
When they were coming up, you were going like, oh, here we go.
Because I mean, I don't think, and I'm not a big expert on cases and stuff like that, but I mean, when does the chief of police come and testify? Like, I mean, that's crazy.
They haven't done that before. I mean, my understanding is that they've
exactly.
never actually testified against,
so
against their own.
So when he walks in, I'm like, oh wow, like this is the hammer,
right?
Like this is because I mean, you can't. Because now you can't spin it as in. So you got chief of police that had the trainers for the police department.
That's his boss. His boss is saying it's wrong.
So if the head is wrong, the trainers are saying it's wrong. All these people are saying that this is wrong and this is not policing. Right. It's not policing.
What was the most profound moment or the most profound piece of evidence that happened that confirmed for you, at least in your own mind? Like, I know you're always keeping the door open, sort of.
Well, up until a certain point.
Yeah. I guess, at what point were you certain?
So there was a guy, his name was like Martin Tobin. He's a teacher, but he's also a scientist, and he's all types of shit. Mm-hmm. He's wrote a bunch of books.
Martin Tobin, shout out.
Shit, no, super shout out.
You're all types of shit.
But he's a super smart guy who basically writes the books that the other scientists go by for.
Right, for their standard or whatever.
For the standard, death by asphyxiation, which is, basically suffocating.
Yeah.
So he gets on the stand and he gets on a pro bono. He's this big guy and he just goes down all these reasons as to why this is the reason George Floyd died and how he died. And he breaks it down in a way that's very scientific, but it's in layman's terms where it's easy to understand, where he's not using these super big words and just talking over you. He's talking directly to us in a way that's understandable, and he has these videos and diagrams, and it's like, this 100% makes sense. And it makes sense to us who none of us know what any of this shit is.
Yeah.
But we get it. We get it from the way you're explaining it. And he just broke it down in a way it's like, there's no way that they can debunk this. He just told us everything. And in the defense, they actually brought up a guy that was trying to debunk Tobin, and the book that he was using to try to debunk him was a book that Martin Tobin wrote. And it was like,
oh, no shit. Okay.
It was like, well, I wrote the book and I know exactly what it's saying, and this is actually what it's saying. And it was just like, there's no way. It's a ballsy
play.
It's crazy
that they tried to use his own book again.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess what they expected was, they didn't expect, because once the witness is done, they probably expect them to just be done with the case for good.
Yeah.
So the prosecution brought Tobin on, the defense brought somebody else on later on in the case, and the prosecution brought Tobin back.
Okay.
They brought him back, which I don't know if that's
another
like
10
normal.
grand probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he said he
did it pro bono.
Okay.
So they brought him back, and he was like, no, I know the vibes. Like, this is what you're saying isn't accurate. You have to read the next page as well, or whatever. Like, you're taking that out of context.
Right.
And it was just like, there's no way to dispute what he's saying.
Who were the most effective witnesses throughout it then? The police chief, Tobin?
Yeah, police chief Tobin. I think early on, it was a young lady, Darnella Frazier's, who recorded the initial video.
Mm-hmm. Was she the fire department girl?
No,
she's the young lady that recorded the video.
Yeah, so she got the initial video.
Okay.
The initial video.
Okay.
So those, and then there was a trainer from the police department. I don't know what their name was, but there was one of the trainers from the police department that just kind of went over the trainings. Those were the pivotal people for sure.
Was there ever something, like, I always think this would be a weird sensation in a courtroom when they're trying to convince you. They're trying really hard to convince you of something, but you feel like you're not buying it. No one else, is buying it, but they're doing it for a fucking hour and a half or whatever. Any big moments like that where it's like, God, I wish you wouldn't have tried this shit.
Yeah,
it turned us against you.
Yeah, there was a time, like I said, when things started to go, you could tell for the defense things were like super left at one point. It was like, okay, things are going horribly wrong. We got to throw whatever out there.
What did you see them doing to get that feeling? Like, I mean, were they gesticulate, like, or whatever?
No, it was nothing like that. But it's just, Eric started speaking a little bit faster. He started asking questions as a little bit irritated. Like he was a little bit irritated when he was asking these questions.
Like, this is not going my way.
Yeah, it's very noticeable. It's very noticeable, and it's just like, okay,
interesting.
You're a little bit off. And then they started bringing up. They were saying that George Floyd might have died from carbon monoxide from the car. And it was like...
I thought they were going to use that he keistered some drugs or whatever. That's
never brought up. No.
Really?
That was never brought up.
In that video that I watched, that was part of it. Oh, no, he hid drugs, is what they were saying in that video that I watched. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know
that was never mentioned. I mean, they alluded to the fact that he might have had some in his mouth that he was trying to hide. Mm-hmm. But they might have fell out. They might have... They alluded to that, but that was never really a big thing because there was basically fragments of the pills or whatever all around the cop's car. So it was like, well, was it in the mouth? Was it in the car? It was never a concrete thing. But as it went on, they started saying, well, he was held down by the exhaust of the car for so long that that might have been the reason. So that was when it was like, okay, now you're starting to go left.
I've fucking sat by a running car before. You don't fucking, I mean, yeah.
So that was when it was like, okay, this is, you're just saying whatever now.
Right.
But yeah, they talked about that for a little while. And it's just like, all right, man.
You're making me now like recall what that video was. And that's what a lot of it was, is that they were even taking the words that he was saying because they asked what he was doing. He said, I was hooping. Yeah. And this fucking, I was a drug dude.
Yeah.
I know that hooping ain't a term for shoving fucking drugs up your ass.
Yeah.
But in this video, that's what the internal affairs guy was saying.
Oh, really?
Like, that's street slang for putting drugs in your ass.
Yeah, no, that was never brought up.
But I was like, that's going to be convincing to people, just to people who don't know. But I'm the Michael Jordan of drugs, so I know.
Yeah.
I would know hooping.
Now they on the drug part, I mean, they did push for that for a while, but it just didn't seem to get any traction. I mean, there was like one or two jurors that was like maybe not, but it just didn't get enough traction to do anything. Yeah.
What who was the most likable in the courtroom? Was there any were one of the prosecuting attorneys particularly good that you felt?
Yeah, no, there was a guy that was really good. I'm blowing a blank on his name. He was a black guy though, and he would he was cracking jokes a little bit here and there. And
I was going to ask you if there were any funny moments.
Yeah, no, this dude was hilarious to me.
Really?
I don't know if anybody else found him hilarious, but he was definitely throwing a joke out there like every day, at least one.
Really?
One or two, and it was like, no, this dude's hilarious. Like, is nobody else laughing at this?
How do you fit a joke in that situation? I mean, I know it was all like harmless shit.
Yeah, a lot of times he was making fun of what the defense was saying, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of times, the defense will come up, ask their questions.
Oh, he'd bag on the fucking defense?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
It was good. It was
really?
It was good. It was good.
Any examples?
I wish.
I
wish I could think of one because he had some good ones, and I was dying in my seat. Like, this is fucking hilarious.
Right.
And it's like, but no, I don't know if anybody else was. I didn't look at anybody else, but I was like, this is funny.
I don't remember what you said, actually.
Jerry Blackwell's his name.
Okay, Jerry Blackwell.
Just hit me. Yep, Jerry Blackwell.
And so, shout out Jerry Blackwell with his stand-up comedy.
Yeah, no, he was funny with it.
Yeah. Is there and how much does that all affect you again? I know we alluded to this earlier, but I can't remember. Like, I mean, how much does likability play into it, do you feel?
I don't think it's a...
If that defense attorney was your defense attorney, would you be like, can you crack a fucking joke here? Can we lighten this shit up?
Yeah, I would have liked them to, just because you do want to lighten the mood a little bit. You have to, I feel like.
Yeah, you guys are there for 8 fucking hours.
Exactly. We're there too long. You want people to, focus on what you're saying. One way to do that, throw a joke out there.
Yeah.
They'll pay attention.
Yeah.
Especially because some of the testimonies were boring. I mean,
Yeah.
let's be real. I mean, there's scientists and doctors going up and they're using all this jargon. We're just like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Right.
But
I'm sure they'd love to hear that. Right.
but no, but luckily they have all type of pictures and whatnot. They're describing it, so you get it eventually. But some of it is boring though, and
Yeah.
so it's just facts. And so I mean, you want somebody to ease the ice, make it easy for
Yeah.
everybody.
Did you get in a groove with the trial where it got so you saw the video early on? It was horrifying. Holy shit, this is real. This is a big thing.
Yeah.
Was there a point kind of in the late middle where all of a sudden you go like, okay, this is kind of a cool experience. This is historic again, where like it came back around?
Absolutely. But at that same moment when it came back around like that, it's just part of your daily schedule, your daily routine.
Yeah.
You kind of, you're like, okay, how do I lock back in again? And like, what's next? So at that time, to me, I thought the prosecution, they were bringing up kind of the same type of experts over and over again. It's like, okay, you just brought this expert.
Hammering this home a
Yeah,
little
and
too
it's
much.
like, we get it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're just kind of going through the motions. Then like they're saying the same things over and over again. There's nothing new that's being said up until when the defense goes, but that took like 2 or 3 days after that. So it's just kind of just going through the motions, really.
Was there ever discontent among the jurors where like when you guys went to the on your lunch break where like someone finally Oprah goes, Jesus Christ, we got to hear this shit one more fucking time?
Yeah.
I mean, do you ever hear that stuff?
I
mean, I'd imagine you're some, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I think we heard that with the video. Where it's like, damn, we got to go here and finish watching the video again.
Right.
But not outside of that, nah. Because every time you're coming back there, you really just want to just talk about anything else, really. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Oh man, I would think you just. I would think you'd be bursting at the seams.
But you can't talk about it.
I know, but I figure you fucking. I don't know. Where like you kind of.
But you don't
find
know
ways to unconsciously communicate, like just. Kind of like, geez, that was a fucking.
Yeah, so you might be like, okay, so you might be like, you get a break every couple hours or something.
Like,
You might
God,
be
that
like,
guy wouldn't shut the fuck up or whatever.
yeah, or you might be like, that was a rough one, or I was falling asleep on that one, or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's all you can say, really. So it's like,
Did the jury start to bond at that point?
yeah. After about a week, I mean, we started to get tight, started to loosen up because I mean, we're in there every day, and we're just looking at each other. So we're like, we started to make friends amongst each other, as much as we could.
Yeah.
As much as we could. I mean, some people were working from back there, remotely. I was watching my team play on my laptop. So I mean,
Yeah.
we started to build somewhat of a camaraderie, for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
you're like aware of everyone's life, even though you're not talking about it. You kind of get
Absolutely.
those senses, right?
Yes.
What did you feel support for Chauvin in the courtroom? Like, did he have a big contingent there at all, or
No,
not?
I don't think. Besides his legal team, I don't think there was nobody there for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think maybe.
I mean,
one
I know
day,
his wife divorced him immediately.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was pretty fucking telling, I would say. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't.
Well,
remember.
that was to like get out of losing all their
losing their
money.
shit.
Yeah, they weren't actually getting a divorce. It was they tried
Oh.
to give all the assets in her name, and then the court was like, "Yeah, nah, that's not happening."
I thought it was because she saw him turn into a lizard and murder someone.
Not at all. She didn't want to lose her shit.
That's funny.
God
No, I didn't
damn.
see anybody there for him. I don't think any of the days.
Really? That actually kind of blows me away. Were there ever outbursts where the judge had to calm it down? Like, did anyone ever stand up and go, "You fucking lizard"? I'm gonna, or just like anything?
Nah. I mean, you would see the attorneys kind of go back and forth, and the judge would be like, "Let's reel it in."
Okay.
You would see them start to kind of get emotional and heated. I mean, it's a battle. So,
Oh, yeah.
So you would see them like kind of do a little too much, and the judge would be like, all right, like chill out.
Okay.
Yeah. So you would get some of that, but outside of that, nah.
Did you ever have a moment in the courtroom where like they go, and of course he did it because he's a fucking murderer, and then they go, objection,
Objection.
and they go, yep, disallow it, jury, forget that you heard that.
Absolutely.
Did that happen?
Not that
I think
dramatically.
that's the most funny fucking thing in the whole
Not
judicial
that dramatically,
process.
but that definitely happens where they're like, all right, nope, you can't say that. Jury, strike that from your memory.
Right.
Basically, it never happened.
Like,
And you just got to
did
forget
you
it.
laugh when that happened? Almost like that. It's ridiculous,
It's
right?
pretty comical because I mean,
Right.
but it is what it is. I mean,
Well, sure, he didn't kill George Floyd. He was too busy raping children. And then disallow that from your. Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. That shit is so fucking weird.
It's so weird.
It's so weird. So we get to deliberation or closing arguments.
Closing arguments.
Let's say.
Yeah.
So at this point, how long were you in it?
That's probably 3 weeks.
Okay.
3 weeks from closing
fucking
argument.
weeks.
Yeah.
8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yep.
No conjugal visits, but you're still getting it at home.
You could go home
Knocking
every
boots.
night, so it's all good.
Good.
Necessary.
God, that's so important to me.
So necessary.
Yes. And what? So it gets to closing arguments. What are you feeling at that point? Are you before closing arguments? Was your mind fairly well made up at that point?
Yeah, once the defense started talking about carbon monoxide,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, this is so much a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Like, what are we
Yeah.
like? This is done with. Like,
Right.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
this is over, pretty much. And then when closing arguments, I'm like, wow, so it's really the trial's over? Like, it's over already?
Was that faster than what you expected?
Yes. So
Okay.
I was expecting 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a little bit faster than that, and I still was waiting for the defense to come up with something. I'm like, well, they came up with nothing.
Right.
Now we're at closing arguments.
We're still waiting for the hammer. Right.
There's nothing there, and it's like, all right, well, and the funny thing about closing arguments is the defense talked for like hours for the closing argument. It's like, what are you even talking about? Like,
Oh, really?
like I think we took a break mid like paragraph for his closing argument. He's going on and on for like 2 hours. Then we take a break in between, come back for another hour. He's still going. It's like, I mean,
Do you feel like he lost you guys at that point, kind of like?
I think he had lost us before then and was just
Yeah.
trying to find something to get us back in some way.
I've done that for stand-up. I'm a stand-up comic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so
No, what can I think?
So
of?
I'm
Like,
positive.
people
I'm
fucking-
100% positive he knew that he lost us, but there's 3 different charges. So it's like maybe I could reel them in somewhere.
Right.
They're gonna maybe they'll bite somewhere, but I'm just gonna go down the list of everything, and somebody will bite somewhere.
Right.
So it was literally like 3.5, 4 hours. He just talked.
Huh. So were the closing arguments as theatrical as you see for, like where they try to make big points and shit like
Absolutely.
that? Yeah.
Absolutely. It was almost like a movie. I know for the prosecution, they were like, they had the guy Blackwell up again, and like I said, he throws a few jokes out there. He just talks in a way where he's going to try to paint a picture, I guess.
Yeah.
And he has these key words that he's trying to use, and all these different key things. Where it's like, okay, this is something that this is a script,
Yeah.
and you're just following your script.
Did it make you interested in the legal process in a sense?
Absolutely.
Like where it's like you kind of see what they're trying to do. That must be
Yeah.
weird to kind of sense that.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, it's not weird. It's actually kind of cool, just because
Yeah.
you see it on TV so often. It's like, well, what angle are they going with it? What are they trying to do here? And then to see it in person, it just flips the script completely, and it's like, wow, like this is it's pretty similar to how it is on TV.
How about eye contact? Like, were there ever issues with? Because I've heard this as a thing.
Yeah.
The victim's family staring at the jurors, for instance, to try to get feel that
Yeah.
responsibility, or even the defense or the defendant or whatever. Were there ever issues with that where you feel like, boy, this dude's eyeballing me a lot?
Yeah,
Or
you
whatever.
Yeah, you do. You got that. You get that a lot, especially with the attorneys. They look right over at you, look you dead in your eye. The witnesses, not so much. When they're testifying, they might look over if they've been through this a couple of times. They might look over at the jurors, but most of them just talk directly to the attorney and don't even acknowledge the jury.
Right. Do the attorneys always have, because there's usually multiple attorneys at a table, which I
Right.
never really, I mean, I get it to some degree, but is there always 1 or 2 guys assigned to watching the jury? Did you feel?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. So the ones that were sitting on the side, they really wouldn't look at us.
Okay.
It was just whoever was speaking at that time, they would definitely look at us. But then we also, in the courtroom, there's a table for media, and they would be eyeing us down nonstop.
Oh, okay.
They wouldn't stop looking at me. It was almost uncomfortable. It was like, yo, like, stop looking at me.
Right.
So hard. Like they're looking up and above. They're standing up, sitting down, twisting their heads around, trying to see all the jurors' reactions to everything. And it's just like, all right, y'all gotta relax.
Yeah. What's the biggest pair of tits you ever saw in your life?
I've
hear?
seen
Hear?
pretty big.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen pretty big. I don't know what size, but
I always like to ask.
fairly
How about the
big.
biggest set in the courtroom?
That's a good one. There was I don't know if there was
important for
anybody
my
else.
audience to know
No, this is. I don't know if there's anybody super large. I think one of the alternates might have had the biggest set. Yeah.
Thank you for your candor.
Yeah, no, I don't care.
What so closing arguments are done. It's
Yes.
time to deliberate.
Yes.
You guys get sequestered for that for the first time.
Yes. So we go to a hotel.
Do you get a speech from the judge before that?
Yes. So he goes over all the rules. Basically, I'm saying these are the charges. This is what I need from you with these charges. Come to the conclusion however you do.
Does he remind you what's at stake? You know, in a sense, like to
No, he just says these.
Yeah.
He literally
You've been
just
sitting
says
there for 3 fucking weeks, you know, right?
Yeah. So he keeps it very, very simple. Just says these are the rules laid out. Follow these rules directly. Don't do too much. Just follow them directly, and let me know if you have a question. Give me a call. Otherwise, I'll see you when you get back.
Right. So where did you get sent to? Did you show up with a bag pack that day or whatever?
Yeah,
like they tell you?
Yeah. So you
Because you don't know how long you're going to be sequestered. Because you could
no idea
for days, right?
We have no idea. And what's funny? So after the closing argument, that was a Thursday. We actually got the Friday off because they didn't want to sequester us over the weekend.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank God.
Yeah. You did.
I needed that weekend.
You did not boot.
I had a blast that weekend.
Yeah.
before we got sequestered, because you had no idea how long we would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like you felt the need to live it up a little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So we come in that Monday. You come with basically a suitcase. You might be there for a day. You might be there for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You just come in a suitcase full of stuff for however long you need. So I think I brought at least a week and a half's worth of stuff.
Were you thinking going into that? So when you're packing your bag going in, going like, this motherfucker and this motherfucker, they're going to be hard to convince. Like, I know what this is. Like, this is going to take a while or whatever. Were you what was your feeling going into that?
So at that point, I was so unsure still. I'll say this. I was thinking it should be a one-day thing, but I was prepared for the long haul just because I still hadn't. I didn't feel like I had known everybody enough and got to know them just enough where it's like I can really get a true feeling on them. Like it's like I have a kind of a surface feeling, but it's like we could get in this room and everything could switch.
Did you have certain people picked out where like you're like that dude and that chick or whatever, they're gonna be tough sell?
The white people.
Of course.
But no.
Of course. I mean, for real.
But I mean,
although the black African dudes, they can be severe kind of guys like that. Like they can come from
absolutely.
hardship. They might not be super sympathetic.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. But no, there's maybe two. For the most part, I figured everybody was coming in on the same page.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really did, just because I didn't feel like there was nothing. I didn't feel like there was nothing anybody could say that would be the opposite of just guilty.
When you guys went into the room, so you guys all, I'd imagine, gather around a table or something like that.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that someone said? Like, okay, who fucking thinks that or you know what I mean? Like, is there some energy, like a certain energy among the jurors, or?
Yeah. I think when we first walk in, we have a seat. I think everybody's just like, okay, we can finally talk about this now. Let's just get to talking. Okay. Because everybody's just, they have diarrhea of the mouth because they're like, we haven't said shit for so long. We just want to get all these thoughts out.
Was that an awesome feeling, kind of?
It kind of was. It was very relieving. Like, just finally, we could just talk. And we just talk uncannily, just say whatever.
Because it's the first time you can connect on this stuff that you've been taking in. So it must have been, like, exhilarating, in a way, right?
And not only that, we were able to actually find out each other's names now. We didn't even know each other's names.
You didn't know your fucking names? I didn't know that. Okay.
So we didn't even know each other's names up to now. So we're like, okay, we can finally learn each other's names. Let's take off these masks.
And you can probably have sex with the other jurors, too.
We if we were there for longer, they might have got to that. Who knows? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I actually, part of my travel pack, 2 weeks, remember, I'm prepared to be there for 2 weeks, a weekend and all.
You did not bring some condoms.
He brought some lamb skins.
You did not.
Or sheep skins, sorry.
I had a packet that was ready for the weekend. If we were going to be there on the weekend, I was going to have a good weekend. We'll say that.
I know that you did an important thing, but I'm going to diagnose you as a sex addict right here.
Yeah. You say, yo, I got to go convict this guy of murder and go fuck some bitches.
And it might turn me on.
Well, let's say this. I didn't necessarily need to have sex, but if it was going to happen, I was going to be ready.
Good man.
I mean, and I had opportunities.
I'm wearing a condom right now.
Did they do like bag searches to get like when you got there, or were they not worried about anything?
Nah, bring whatever you want in your bag. I mean, I had beers.
Liquor. That's exactly what I was gonna ask.
I had beer and I think I had a bottle. I had all kind of stuff, so I had everything ready.
Massage oils.
all type of stuff,
Yeah.
candles.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What? So, the original energy. How many people were right away like guilt? Like, I mean, did you guys feel a big need to flesh it out before the first vote?
Yeah, I said, was there
Or
like
do
a
you
big
do an
argument
initial vote?
that went on?
There was nothing. So early on, when we first got in, it was just like a bunch of people just talking. Nobody was saying.
Just conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So then, we decided to get some organization, and that's when we voted on a 4-person. And so we chose my guy Tyler as the 4-person, and from there, that's when we said, okay, let's choose to vote on one of these things and actually have a constructive conversation instead of just everybody just talking.
And that's after what, like 2 hours or something like that? Or?
No, not even. Maybe 30, 45 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
And also, by the way, this is Monday evening.
Okay.
So it's like, Monday during the day, we had to be in the courtroom still going over the rules, basically.
Where were you, by the way? Like, I mean, they sent you,
we were in
like, was it a decent hotel?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't even remember what hotel it was. It was but
Embassy
somewhere
Suites, I bet.
outside the city, like Plymouth area.
Okay.
So
Country Inn and
Motel
Suites.
6.
no, they took care of us. What's funny is, so the hotel was actually, the way they masked it, it was under construction, quote unquote. And they,
Holy shit.
yeah, no, this was super intense. And they put us like in a construction zone that wasn't really a construction zone.
Were you still worried about your safety at that point?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, did that amp back up,
Yes,
sort of?
absolutely. Everybody was.
Okay.
Everybody, 100%. And I have a story about that too once we get to the verdict.
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
But it was basically a hotel under construction. It's not really under construction that they hit us in.
That's crazy.
Yep, and we had sheriff deputies every floor. There's, they're walking around in there 24 hours. If we want to leave the deliberation room that we're in, the little conference room, we got to knock 3 times and say a passcode, basically. Not really.
Wow.
Not really.
But
knock
I
3
mean,
times,
right.
But it's that secure though.
Right.
Yeah. So it was really secure. We used to have unmarked cars outside, people circling. It was like as if we're the president or something.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Does everyone really bond then at that point? Because
Absolutely.
so then there's a little bit of a family vibe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we fill out name tags or whatever, which somebody decided to do. So we're learning everyone's names. We got a 4-person now. And we're just like, let's go ahead and take a vote on the manslaughter. Let's do manslaughter. That seems like an easy one.
Yeah.
And we all agreed on that, no problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that came back. We all voted guilty, and it was like
No
all
one
right, cool.
waffled at all. Just
Not at all.
truly okay.
Just boom, knocked it out. And then we were like, we were going to vote for the next charge, which was I think we went from manslaughter to straight to, I think we did 3rd degree first. And we said, well, let's pause right there because it was in the evening. So let's eat dinner. Let's just come back to it tomorrow. I mean, we don't need to rush or whatever.
Right.
Because, more discussions come up. People
Let's get this party on a little bit.
Yeah, let's chill a little bit. So
Yeah.
we took our time on that one, ate, chilled out, and just
Ate at the hotel, I'm sure.
Yeah,
like
they ordered us
just
food.
with each other, kind of.
Yeah, we just stayed in that same room. So that's another thing. So once we were in the room, we had to pretty much stay in the room all day.
Okay.
Until the evening, really, until we were done for the day.
Right.
So
Okay.
so we just stayed in there, ate, kicked it for a minute, and then we're like, all right, let's just go ahead and go. And so we retired to our rooms after we ate or whatever. But it was pretty uneventful night.
Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't get any pussy?
No, I didn't get nothing, man.
Jesus
Didn't get
Christ,
nothing.
man.
I mean, everybody was tired that first day. Maybe, like I said,
I hope you at least masturbated.
the first night, no.
God damn.
First night, nah, I know.
Slipping.
No, man, I'm super slipping. It was like, I wanted to have a focused mind in the morning.
You're like a boxer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
What? So second day, you wake up
Yep.
and you get after charge, 3rd degree.
Yeah. So the second day we get in, we do breakfast, and we just go right after it. Everybody's kind of reviewed their notes. They have all these fresh ideas.
Everyone took notes for the most part. Would you
Yeah,
say?
everybody took notes.
Really?
Everybody took a lot of notes.
What kind of notes? Like, what kind of notes did you take? Just any fact that occurred to you that was a big deal, sort of. I guess.
Yeah, whatever.
Or just-
So whenever somebody's testifying, whatever, and they're talking, you just write down whatever seems like pertinent to you.
Why'd you do that? Like, did other people start to do it, and then you just feel obligated, or is that something you would have done anyway? Do you think?
I forget a lot of stuff. I forget everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was like, well, I'm going to write stuff down because I'm going
Right.
to forget everything. If this lasts for weeks, I'm going to forget I'm gonna forget every week, but the fourth week by
Right.
the time it's all said and done.
Oh, you
So
got to think about your conjugal visits.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's hard to keep that in your head.
So yeah. So I mean, I was writing stuff down, and I mean, like I said, you have all these doctors and scientists. They have all these diagrams and stuff like that, where it's like breaking down this, and that. And then yeah, the timeline on a lot of people brought up a timeline where it's like, okay, this is what happened during this time. Those are all things that I was writing down. It was like, okay, this could come in handy whenever you're in the deliberation room and you might have to debate.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're debating with somebody, I mean, I want to come with the right shit.
Right, right. Okay.
So, but no, everybody had tons of notes, tons of them.
So so when you did that third degree thing, did that go smooth too?
Yeah. Well, it went kind of smooth. I won't say it went super smooth, but there was definitely a lot of discussion amongst it. So we're going over third degree, a lot of discussion. You know, it took a few hours. It wasn't as easy as a manslaughter where we just come in, vote, everybody guilty.
Right.
Like there's a couple people where it was like, we did like a preliminary vote first always, and they were like, their preliminary was like, I'm not unsure.
Okay.
Right. So
no one was innocent, just unsure. Like there was a few unsures.
Right,
okay.
Right. And so we started going around the room and kind of discussing it, and we started discussing it, going over the evidence again. So we get basically a flash drive with all the evidence on it. So we're going over the evidence again. People are stating, you know, their reasoning as to why they think he might be guilty or whatever. And we finally come to a conclusion once one of the jurors brings up the idea of maybe it's not all of what Derek Chauvin did, but what he didn't do as well. So in terms of, okay, say this guy, he's clearly in distress.
Right.
He's in distress and he's
didn't
unconscious.
give aid to someone.
Exactly.
Right.
So he's in distress, unconscious, then dead. At some point, nobody, you know, there's no aid, there's no anything.
Right.
So, I mean, something should have happened at that point.
That qualifies for a third degree murder, basically.
Right. And the way it qualified was, the police, the Minneapolis police they're trained on these different things for those situations. And their motto is, if you're in our custody, you're in our care, where we're supposed to care for you regardless.
Right.
And the fact that nothing was done, that kind of slammed the door on, okay, so whatever those people that were unsure, whatever they're voting uninsured for, I mean, does this not solidify?
He just sat there with his little black gloves and fucking sat on him.
He sits there as this man is distressed, unconscious, and now dead.
Right.
I mean, what do you do? Something should be happening.
Right. So then you guys got third degree.
Yeah.
So then when it goes to first degree, right?
Second degree. Second degree.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't premeditated. So second degree murder, were you thinking like, fuck, we're going to have to go through another goddamn 10 hours of this shit?
You know, I kind of thought so, but it was like everybody already said their thoughts, because we had maybe went around for like 2.5, 3 hours. So it was like, there's nothing more to say.
On the third degree, kind of? Right.
So it was like, what more do we have to say? Like, this clearly fits for second degree for sure.
Right. How much do you feel the peer pressure in that room at that point? Like, you know, for the people who are unsure, do you know, first of all, how many of them were there? Were there 3 or 2?
Well, so I think it was like 2. I think it was only like 2, if I remember right.
Do you almost pity them? Because it's like you know, I mean, at a certain point, I'd imagine everyone's like, okay, let's fucking get this shit done. This is over, right?
Me. I'm the one in the room saying that. Like,
really?
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to ask you what your role was.
That was my role. So my role was...
I was the dick, right?
But it wasn't... I mean,
right.
I say stuff in a nice way.
It's like reality.
It is reality.
Yeah, you're just...
So it's like, so when we're kind of debating this third degree, and we're going over stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, at some point, we're going over the same things over and over again. It's like, why are we still discussing this? Let's vote again.
Right.
And so the way we're voting is everybody just write down what they think on a piece of paper, and we all hand it to the foreperson. So it's kind of anonymous whenever he reads it off. And the people that were unsure weren't necessarily saying, they weren't saying, hey, no, I'm the one that voted unsure.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
So the way it was,
you write it down or whatever. So
yeah.
You didn't know. Okay.
Well, but once we go around the room and we're debating, it's clear who's unsure because they're debating the other side.
Okay.
You know, but they never necessarily say, hey, no, it's me.
Right.
So I'm like, we're debating these things with somebody that's not even coming forward. Let's just vote again. And whoever the fuck is saying this, like, you gotta speak up.
Right.
Like you have to stand on what you're saying. You have to speak up and speak your mind. And if not, what are we doing?
Right.
So I'm that guy. Like, no, let's forget all this talking. Like, let's get to another vote. Let's vote again and let's figure this out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was that guy pressuring everybody to hurry up. Like,
So you pressured it or whatever. It went around again. Everyone just like went with it because the scary black man's yelling at
well,
everybody.
no, it still took about another hour after that.
Okay.
But eventually we got it done. And then by the secondary, it was like everybody already said everything. We went through all the evidence. Like, there's nothing, nobody brought out anything that was debunking to anything. Like, there's nothing that anybody mentioned that was like, okay, we need to really evaluate this second degree. Like, no, it's already fitting. We've already come to terms on, no, this fits second degree.
Okay.
There's nothing to discuss at that point.
So you guys turn it in.
Yeah.
It happens. What is that feeling like immediately when it's like I mean, did everything just shift? Like, just immediately? Like, okay.
Did it ever. When we first got done, it was maybe, it was still early in the day on that day. So it was still pretty early. And, we were like, let's just not even turn it in yet. Let's just take a second and just chill. They know I had drinks. Like, let's crack some beers, those things.
Right.
Let's just relax for a minute before we turn it in. And we were like, let's actually turn it in tomorrow morning. That was our initial plan. Like, let's turn it in tomorrow morning. And let's just party tonight.
I feel that way too.
Let's just wait, because I mean, we expected our lives to change and stuff like that after we turned it in. So we're like, let's just wait till tomorrow morning, turn it in. And then I guess somebody was like, no, let's turn it in now, and just tell the judge, let's wait till tomorrow to announce it though. So we get it turned in. We're chilling, we're drinking, kicking it. Everybody just having regular conversations now.
Yeah. Talking about your lives.
Yes, 100%. We're literally just finally just relaxing completely. Everybody's in great spirits. And
really, the spirits were high.
Very high.
There wasn't this feeling of like, we just condemned a man.
Not
because
yet.
you felt, okay.
Not yet. Everybody was really just having regular conversations, and everybody was just really excited to just have a moment of normalcy.
Right. Get back to our lives.
Yeah, that's just really what it was.
Right.
And then maybe an hour later, the one of the sheriff deputies comes in like in a panic, like, we got to go right now. And he's like, pack your bags, we got to go right now. We have to get downtown right now. Everybody hurry up. Like, ASAP.
But we're drunk.
Right, y'all are turned up in
we're chilling.
Deliberation.
Right.
We're chilling. Like, we're like, huh? So, but we're somewhat panicking, like, well, I mean, what's the rush? Like, what happened? Like, is there
Don't we have any control here or whatever?
Yeah, but I mean, not only any control, but it's like, you're not telling us what's going on necessarily. And it's like, is it something dangerous going on? Like, are we in harm's way or something?
Oh, okay.
And there's like, no, just hurry up. We gotta go. And we really don't know what's going on. We're all like, we're dressed like in sweats and stuff like that. We're going to the courtroom, like, we're in sweats, we're in shorts, we're in flip flops, and just like, grab your stuff as quick as you can, get to the cars. We have to get out of here. And so we start heading downtown, and the traffic is crazy. Which I later found out the traffic was crazy because of people rushing downtown because they heard the verdict was coming out.
Okay. I actually remember hearing that the verdict's coming out. I mean, it was it was super intense.
So that's why we had to actually rush, is because somehow it leaked that the verdict had been turned in.
Okay.
And so the judge wanted to get the verdict on read.
To head that off
before the actual verdict was also leaked somehow.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's just get them down here, read it off before anything else happens. But yeah, somehow it's leaked. So people are rushing downtown and rushing out of downtown.
Yeah.
Because they don't.
No, there was fear.
Yeah.
There was fear.
So, but we didn't. So as jurors, we had no idea. We're like, damn, it's so. For me, as a guy that lives in Minneapolis, like, there's so much traffic. Like, it hasn't been. This is the middle of COVID. I'm like, there hasn't been this much traffic in literally months.
Right.
So it was confusing to me. I was like, why is there so much traffic? It makes no sense. And so we're rushing downtown. We get caught in traffic, which it takes like an hour to get downtown from Plymouth during this time of day that day. And it's like, well, what the heck? So we get there late, and we just get rushed into the courtroom. And they read off the verdict, and they go around and they ask all the jurors. The judge asks all the jurors, like, is this your true and correct, thoughts? Is this how you truly feel? And you got the answer, and you say yes. And that's when the emotion, and it's like, oh, like, you're confirming this decision, like, right now. Like,
did you watch Chauvin walk in and like think, like, kind of what, like, God, he doesn't even know that he's about to get condemned. I mean, that's heavy shit.
Yeah, no, that was definitely heavy. And I think the judge actually at some point, he asked something to Chauvin then too. And I was able to see his expression. His expression was just so confused, and it's just like you could definitely tell he was looking like what the hell just happened.
When he asked him if he understood
yes.
the chart. Yes. Okay. Oh, and Chauvin looked just in disbelief.
Yeah,
kind of?
absolutely. And he looked like what just happened. And
Right.
It was like, damn, like.
Wow, was that the belief that you had? Is that he thought he was going to get off?
Absolutely.
In a sense, really?
Absolutely. Or at least
a
I didn't
loser.
think I'm pretty sure he didn't think that he'd be guilty of all the charges, all 3
Right.
charges. It was like,
Yeah, maybe they'll give me a manslaughter. But yeah,
right.
historically.
So no,
This is
he looked so like I can't believe this just happened.
Did you hate him?
No, I don't have nothing against him.
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure you watched him murder someone, so I wasn't
Nah,
sure how
'cause I
that
mean-
is, you know.
From my perspective, after seeing so much of the whole trial, the whole thing,
Yeah.
is I don't have anything against him because I don't know anything about him. I know nothing about Derek Chauvin besides that he killed George Floyd.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
literally.
wow.
I mean, that's all
For
I
some
know.
reason, I thought you'd have more. I don't know. I would, I guess, to condemn someone. I mean, of course, I believe that you did 100% the right thing.
Absolutely.
I'm just wondering if to do that, if you automatically assign some I don't know type of feelings towards them or
I think-
whatever, to make yourself feel good in a
Yeah,
sense.
no, I think the feelings that you assign is compassion when you do something like that. I mean,
I see.
because I think it has to be compassion. I think you would have to be somewhat a little bit
Spiteful,
off.
vengeful,
yeah, it's
whatever,
Like,
yeah.
I don't have a reason to feel that way
Yeah.
towards him.
He's getting his punishment.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah.
He's getting his punishment. I don't have any other reason to feel any type of way. He didn't. I mean, it's not like he was just. It's not like he took the stand and was like, no, I hated this man from the beginning.
Right.
I mean, I don't know anything about that. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you feel like the rest of the jury felt the same way about the proceedings as you did, kind of? Like, I
think
mean,
so.
yeah.
I
Okay.
think so.
When you guys talked, it was all kind of in lockstep for the most part.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, even as like I said, after we read the verdict and we were leaving out of the courtroom, and people were breaking down crying. Just
Oh,
flat out.
really?
Just flat out, just falling down crying.
The jurors or
Jurors.
the jurors were okay
Absolutely.
because I mean, for real, what a super heavy experience.
Yeah.
What a super heavy experience.
No, it is. But like I said, I don't think any of us hate him or anything like that. 'Cause like I
Right.
said, we literally know nothing about him.
Do you feel bonded to George Floyd and his legacy?
Yeah,
I mean, you're a real part of it. You're a real
Right.
significant part of it.
right. I mean, I started to feel that bond throughout the trial just because there was a lot of similarities throughout his life. Like, so he attended a college in South Florida at one point. The school that he attended was miles from the school that I attended in South
Right.
Florida. Like,
Well, I
there's
bet
just
they would have liked to figure that out before the trial.
right. Who knew? Right.
Right.
It
They
was
might
just,
identify with this shit, right?
I mean, and the fact, I mean, he's a larger guy. I'm a larger guy. Like, there's similarities where it's just
Yeah.
like this hits close to home for me.
Yeah.
Just completely. So I started to feel that bond already prior to it ever ending. And then with it ending and seeing the coverage that it's gotten,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm automatically linked to it. Tremendously.
It's truly a historic thing.
Right.
I mean, it's really profound, actually.
Yeah.
I think so. Do you feel lucky, to have been a part of it? Do you feel, I don't know. How do you
Yeah.
feel about it?
I mean, I'm not a big religious guy, but I do think that I was meant to be there. I think all of us as jurors were meant to be the jurors for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think you could have chose a better jury panel.
Really?
Yeah. I
You
just
feel
honestly-
like so one of the things I have a great friend who you probably know because she was reporting in the courtroom, but Georgia Fort, do you know her?
No.
Okay. She's a journalist. Tevin, you can help me out, or you can tell her her credentials more, but really just a great journalist. We're friendly with her. She covered that. She was in with the Floyd family, interviewed them and stuff like that. And she wrote me because I was asking her before I talked to you, is there any insights that she has that I might not be aware of? And she was curious about, and I don't want to misquote her at all, but a feeling of like injustice in the jury selection process. If you saw institutional racism in that, because from her perspective, she felt like people who were for Black Lives Matter were cut, and then people who were for the police department could still kind of get through. Did you see that as well, or not? Not
no,
really.
because I specifically said
Right.
And
I know you said that for
yes,
yourself.
and I wasn't cutting. I was very adamant on no. It's a statement that I believe in. I'll forever
Right.
stand on because I'm a black man.
Right.
And then on the flip side, they ask about Blue Lives Matter, and I flat out just said I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't understand the concept behind that. It seems like it was something to combat Black Lives Matter, which doesn't make any sense. So I was very stern on that
stuff here just to make sure I'm not screwing
no
it
doubt.
up. But yeah.
So now I was very stern on it. And I do get how there's definitely some institutionalized racism within picking jury panels, but
yeah.
I didn't experience it then, but I seen how it could happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Will you ever see these jurors again? Like, will you guys have a barbecue or something like? I mean,
yeah.
you know, I would imagine you feel bonded, and it's
Yeah.
weird to not see him again in a sense.
No, it is. A few of them actually just did happy hour a couple weeks ago, like last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. I didn't attend, but I do hang.
Pussy.
No, I missed out on that one. I might have been too turned for them, but no, I hang with a couple of them here and there. I actually just got the number for one of them just yesterday, and I was like, I want to hit him up, see if he wants to go get some drinks or whatever. But there's cliques within the jury team,
Sure.
just as with anything.
Yeah.
So, and there was such a wide range of ages,
Okay.
and backgrounds within it. So, people hang with like people. So a few of them hang consistently, and
Yeah.
a couple others, there's pockets.
Did you meet the Floyd family at all, or do you feel like a desire to meet them in a sense?
Yeah.
Because you shared a really,
Yeah, I haven't met them in person, but I have had a phone call with one of the brothers.
Really?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
So when I first came public with my name, I just was like, in my interview, I was like, I would love to speak with them, just to send my condolences and stuff like that, and just have a conversation.
Of course. No,
And
of course.
they basically just called me one day. One of the brothers just called me, and he was just like, keep doing what you're doing. We appreciate everything you did. And it's they just sent me some encouraging words. I was planning to give them encouraging words, and they gave me encouraging words.
What was that like for you?
It was actually very rewarding.
Did you break down?
I didn't.
Okay. Because it was just
It was very
an overall positive thing.
Yeah,
So,
it was overall positive and genuine, and it was just very enlightening. They just sent a lot of encouragement to me. It was like, we really appreciate you, and just continue going forward with everything that you do.
Yeah.
And really don't let it just kind of harbor on you too much, basically. And it was just like, wow, like
Right.
that's real. If this is coming from somebody that's directly related to this
Yeah.
person,
Yeah. Who had to watch their brother get murdered in the
Absolutely.
courtroom over and over again.
absolutely. So
Right.
it was very rewarding. Absolutely.
So I believe you're the first juror to come forward, right?
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that, or motivated you to do that, and what's ahead?
Yeah, so for me, it was like, at that point, I wasn't sure when the names were coming out, but I wanted to come out first just to debunk a lot of myths. So during the time when I first came out, there was the myth of they 100% came up with this decision because if they didn't, they were worried about what's going to happen to the city. Or, the pressure. They only came to the decision because of the pressure of what was going to happen. And I had to come out like, no, we came to the decision because we came to this decision. Like, it was really getting under my skin just hearing that always. And it's like, no, that's BS. No, we came to it because we came to it. And I had that.
You feel like you genuinely came to this, like, doing your civic duty, right?
Absolutely.
I was trying to be
Absolutely.
fair and honest.
Absolutely. And I found it disrespectful to the entire process. So, people, it's
to what you guys went through, to what you sacrificed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've been there, we sacrificed it, and it's like, there's a lot of institutionalized racism within it.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like me as a black man being a part of this jury, it's important for me to let people know, like, no, I was there.
Yeah.
We got it done legit.
Right.
Like, it's important for me to be the person to say, hey, no, I'm telling you this as a person that's in the community. I'm heavily a leader in the black community in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I was there. We
Right.
got it done the right way.
Right.
Like, it's not a conspiracy or nothing like that. We got it done.
Yeah.
And so I really just wanted to debunk that. And
I think it helps that you're a basketball coach for some reason. That
Yeah.
because sports are a big, like you understand responsibility and community, and that we all survive together. Kind of, you know what I
Absolutely.
mean? All those lessons. So
I agree with you.
I think it is more, in a sense, believable. I don't want to act
Yeah.
like it's like that's not a great
But
word
no,
choice. But yeah,
I agree
but yeah.
with you though, actually. And I think the fact that because a lot of people bring up, well, you weren't afraid to come forward, or you're not afraid of the backlash and all that. And I'm like, whatever happens, happens. I mean, I'm not gonna walk around in fear or something like that. Like, who cares?
Right. You live in North, for Christ's sakes.
I mean, yeah, born and raised. I mean, I'm not.
Right.
But no, seriously, I'm not. It's not something I'm concerned with.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. What you might get yelled at or something.
what's
right?
gonna happen? Exactly. So
Yeah. I mean, have you had any issues? I mean, I'm sure you've seen some online troll shit.
Yeah, online, but that's whatever.
Yeah,
that's
nothing.
stuff like that is comical, actually.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty funny.
Truly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get a kick out of that. But no, I mean, what's funny is even with the online stuff like affected people around me more so than it affected me, unfortunately. Like where they're like, oh man, like they have to go see all the comments. They actually get affected by it. I was like, I don't care.
Right.
But I haven't had any I didn't have any issues so far. There was one altercation with the officer where, pulled me over no reason. I don't know if it's from me coming forward or me just being black. It was one of the other.
Right.
I don't know.
Coin flip.
Literally.
Right.
Pulled me over no reason, put me in cuffs.
Really doesn't matter, actually.
It really,
You're right.
Same
it
thing.
was an ugly act either way. Yeah.
So, I mean, but that was it. But like I said, I don't know. The other side of that has been nothing.
Is there some fear of reprisals, from the police department a little bit?
Me?
Like,
No.
I mean, because the police department came out against them.
Exactly.
And I think,
Exactly.
I talked to police while it was going on because we'll have them on my
Yeah.
show. And really, I heard encouraging stuff from
Same.
them. I mean,
Same.
I think in a way it's healing and really important for our community because we
agree.
needed to see police,
agree.
because we do need police.
Which I agree with that too.
Right. And it's like, but we need good police,
Facts. Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
that had to happen.
No, I 100% agree. And I mean, like there's a few guys I know that are officers that I'm very cool with, and I mean, they're like, no, we 100% like, no,
Right.
that's bad policing. Like just 100%,
Right.
like we
That
stand
fucks our
behind
shit
that.
up. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of guy that's against police, like as a whole. I'm not that person.
Right.
Like so, it's
No.
like,
I'm a little bit biased against authority,
yes,
but we have many police on the show that I fucking love, that are great guys and all
Yeah.
that. So I mean,
Yeah.
I know they're out there, right?
They definitely.
I've
are.
just had too many run-ins with the fucking shitballs. But Tevin, is there anything that we're missing from the audience questions?
Yeah, we can go through.
I know we're
these,
running long, but we should. Let's try to
Facebook
get through
questions
them.
real quick.
We had so many people ask you. I
got-
don't wanna...
Yeah.
Some of these, I'm pretty sure, are Derek Chauvin burner accounts that he's got.
Oh, there's a lot of them.
set up.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them that's probably saying, "Oh, I was called a racist a lot of times when I came forward." It was the craziest thing ever.
But Luke Pearson wants to know, how do you feel about the state releasing the identities of all the jurors? Was that something you were worried about at all?
I personally wasn't worried about it, but I was worried for those that want to live like a private lifestyle. So there's a handful of the jurors that they're very quiet people, very reserved. They don't want to be bothered. And to see that they have to now become somewhat of a public figure, even though they never in their life could ever imagine being in the public, I feel like that's kind of stressful for them. So I felt for them, but for me it was fine. But there's definitely some people that were stressing about it and were really like worried about when the names will be released and what are they going to do once they're released.
Yeah. Melanie Hansen wants to or asked a couple questions you kind of touched on earlier. Again, kind of about the backlash of names being released, as well as asking about if you knew anything about the trial ahead of time and kind of if you knew anybody. And did you know anybody in
have
law
any friends in
enforcement?
law enforcement, yeah.
Before you went in.
So not directly like direct friends in law enforcement, but my cousin is he's a CO. So I mean that's
cop.
Yeah. So he's a
far as I'm
CO.
concerned, right.
My grandfather, who's now passed, he was actually a cop.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
a couple. You had a couple.
That bodes really.
Terry Maxon Rooney had a couple questions, kind of that we covered as
I know
well.
Terry,
also
shout out Terry.
asked about the releasing of the juror names. And then
Let me read some of the haters.
Chris
read some
Nehart
haters.
wants to know or says that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose. And then Aaron Miller
And
wants
then
to
John
know,
Powers had a funny
wants
response.
to know, how could you guys find this man guilty? He was just a cop dealing with a career criminal.
Well, so it's funny when people say that. So the idea of a
Why
career
did your
criminal,
group convict a hardworking policeman of a crime he didn't commit?
right? But it's like, okay,
Interesting way to see
because
that.
somebody is a career whatever, that means they're supposed to just die at the hands of somebody else. Like,
Yeah. No, I mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand. So, Aaron Miller, I'm really glad you listened to the show. I appreciate it. But I really can't believe that a sane person or that a feeling person can see that video and see someone who's not doing anything wrong. It's so hard for me to get my head around that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And then, like I said, when people say the overdose,
He was like being very passive. He was calling for his mom. He was
extremely
like
passive.
he was begging them not to hurt him.
and then at one point he's unconscious.
There's not a threat.
He's unconscious at one point. There's literally nothing he can do because he's not conscious. What's the point of still staying there? So he stays. So I mean, Chauvin stays on top of this guy while he's unconscious and dies until the paramedics come.
I want to give Sean Powers a little
Yeah.
shout out here because Chris Neihart wrote George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose, and Sean Powers wrote George Floyd died from a due process overdose. Chauvin is in jail because he tried to substitute his knee for Narcan. So yeah, and you're here because you're a career con man turned politician. Oh, there's a politician, I guess. Chris Neihart. Hey,
That's funny.
that's interesting.
That's
Let's see.
always a funny one too.
I'm gonna check I had some on my page too, really quick. So I'll just look at those.
But
and then
no,
I think
like I said, for me, it's always funny hearing the crazy negative comments because they don't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I came away from you extremely, I truly didn't have a bias coming into it. Like I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
joking about that shit in the beginning, but and I assumed, like I meant everything I said, I guess, as far as I would assume you'd have some bias and stuff. But really, hearing you talk about it, truly believe your intentions, I guess.
No,
So,
for sure. And I
it's-
mean, and this is one thing when you're on a jury, everybody has biases based on life.
yes,
Everybody
everybody
does.
in the whole world.
Like, it's not wrong.
I hate black people.
No, understandable. I hate bald people. But everybody,
We can agree.
everybody has biases. The
Right.
only question is, can you put your biases aside and field the evidence and make a decision without those biases? Biases aside. That's all it comes down to. But everybody
Right.
has biases. That's what makes a jury. That's the point of a jury. Is you're taking people from different walks of life with different lifestyles and different perceptions of life, and you're bringing them together to make a decision. You want to have a variety of biases on a jury. Therefore, you get a variety of people. You get a variety of different backgrounds. Therefore, they get a decision that reflects the area.
Yeah.
For some reason, people don't seem to understand that
Right.
aspect of it.
They think you're supposed to be an empty vessel,
Right,
which is impossible.
That's impossible.
Right.
That's completely impossible.
Well, I
We don't
feel
live in a
quite good
vacuum.
inside. But yeah, what have you gotten laid from this experience, or do you anticipate getting laid from this
I
experience?
don't. That's funny. It's funny that you say that. I think there might have been one time where I did get laid because of this. I'm not sure, but it seemed like it was because of this. I'm still
Thank
not
you,
sure.
Derek Chauvin.
Yeah. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
just once though.
Just once.
Just once. And it's,
Let's not give up on that, okay?
it could have been either. It could have been my smile. It could have been that. I don't know.
If there's any ladies out there who'd like to have sex with Brandon, you can hit us up at Profession Confession at our social media or get at us on email. But there's no more questions on my page that are different. It's just a lot of stuff that we've hit. But I want to thank everyone for all the questions and response. Really happy to be back. We got more episodes lined up. We're going to start being regular again. So
Nice.
we're psyched. And please watch Brandon Mitchell's podcast, the Wholesome Podcast.
The Wholesome Podcast.
Where can they find it?
So we're YouTube, Spotify, Apple, either one. The Wholesome Podcast. Like I said, it's a dating relationship podcast. Sunday releases. Every Sunday we're dropping something. So
I've only watched one episode, but it was really funny. So that's why whatever. I was thrilled that he was a normal person, and
Absolutely.
because you never know when someone brings you their podcast.
Yeah.
So it's like I was like, oh shit, this is actually really funny. They do a good job.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, and you're a juror. You should be on my podcast. so yeah, man. And if you ever want me on yours, I'd love to do it
no,
too.
we're
It'd be
definitely gonna
fun.
bring you through.
All
Definitely
right,
gonna bring you
man.
on.
So yeah, so thanks everyone for tuning in. Tevin, anything else that we're missing?
Nope, I think we covered it all.
Fucking A, I hope so. How long has this been?
Too long.
Yeah, it has been. But it's been
2
really
hours.
fucking good.
It's a lot of information.
It was, but I mean, really, I could have tightened up the front, but
Yeah.
other than that, it was fucking awesome, man.
No, it
So
was
thank
good.
you.
Yeah, like I said, I was glad to talk about it.
I had a
long
great,
form.
I had a great time. Is this the first time that you got to do it long form?
Yeah.
I saw the CNN thing.
Yes,
or
I mean, there's
whatever.
been some kind of long form, but they're stuffy, formal.
Yeah, they're like TV shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I watched it, and at first I was like bummed because I had that unrealistic thing where I'm like, like we'd like to have it first, which is totally unrealistic. But then I watched it, and it's like, oh fuck, they
They just ask like TV questions and shit
Exactly.
like that. So yeah.
Exactly. I like this type of stuff better.
All right. Goodbye, everybody. Until next time. Didn't really plan an outro. Are we down, Tevin?
We are down.